Good afternoon. Well, our big holiday weekend continues here at ABC Sports, starting with the final day of regular season play in the United States Football League. And on this final day, one playoff berth is still available. First, however, let's look at the teams that have already assured themselves of a place in the 4-team playoffs. Those are the Philadelphia Stars, the Oakland Invaders, and the Michigan Panthers. Now, the final berth will go to either the Chicago Blitz or the Boston Breakers. You see the possibilities there on your screen. I think we can sum it up simply by saying that to get into the playoffs, the Boston Breakers must win their game and count on the Chicago Blitz obliging them by losing theirs to the Oakland Invaders. What will you be seeing today? Well, here are the games. In most areas of the country, it'll be the Oakland Invaders against the Chicago Blitz at Soldier Field. The rest of the country will be seeing the Arizona Wranglers against the Michigan Panthers, that game at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Also this afternoon, immediately following the USFL game, you'll be seeing our final day of coverage of the National Sports Festival from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we'll be featuring boxing, track and field, and gymnastics. Right now, however, let's get going with the final day of regular season play in the United States Football League.
ABC Sports presents the United States Football League. Live from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the Arizona Wranglers against the Michigan Panthers. The loyal fans of the Michigan Panthers are happy today. There is an air of excitement in the Silverdome simply because the Michigan Panthers have made it to the playoffs in this first year of the United States Football League, one of the 4 chosen teams. And so the fans have turned out probably more than any other time of the season, although we don't have an accurate count, to herald these Panthers. Just how they fit in the playoffs has yet to be determined. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Fleming. In a moment, you'll be hearing from Lee Corso and a little bit later on from Steve Garagiola. First, let me say that the Michigan locker room today was all excitement. The Panthers are very pleased that they have made the playoffs. They either will win the Central Division Championship or they will make the playoffs as a wild card. They, quite frankly, want to make it as the champions of the Central Division. They feel confident they can do it. But let's find out from our expert on the United States Football League, who's been with us all season long, Lee Corso. Lee, here is a team that lost first of its 4 of its 5 games to begin the season, then has won 10 out of 12. What happened?
Well, first of all, their owners got some money. He went out and spent it wisely and got some good football players. But they've got the best offensive football team in this league when it comes to balance. They're a great running team, but when the team tries to stop the run, they throw for touchdown passes, and they're really dynamite when it comes to that.
They have a quarterback by the name of Bobby Hebert. Now, Bobby came from Northwest Louisiana State, and yet he was picked by Jim Stanley and the staff as the 6th best quarterback in college football. Now, that's quite a tribute to him.
Not only that, he's got some good size to him. See, he's 6'3", 208 pounds, and he's got a dynamite nickname. He's the Cajun Cannon. And now watch the Cajun Cannon throw this bomb to 3-time All-American from Michigan, Anthony Carter. Carter averages 19.1 point yard every time he touches it. But watch this. Hebert will throw a pass to Derek Holloway, number 27 from Arkansas, who averages 22 yards every time he catches one. That's why they got a great offensive football team.
Did you notice on that particular one how he let that bomb go from the 50-yard line? And here's a good look at Anthony Carter and Derek Holloway. Not big. 5'11" for Carter and 5'7" for Holloway.
But they got great speed, tremendous concentration, and they're both winners.
Defensively, Michigan has not been great on pass defense, but they have been good against the rush, and I think you have to credit one man.
They got a guy named John Corker. You will not believe it. You think there's 27 57s around the game. He's got 25.5 sacks and 37.5 scares.
So wait a minute, what's a half a sack?
A half a sack is when he scares a guy and a guy falls down because he came close. I don't know. I didn't heard that.
Let's talk about Arizona. Arizona was a team with a lot of promise when the season got underway, and yet now they've lost, what, 9 in a row, and they're really just playing for pride here today.
Well, they got a chance to win. Why? Michigan's #1 thing that they don't do as well as anybody else is defend against the pass. Arizona's got to throw it. They got to be careful not to get sacked because Corker and his group will go crazy. And the second thing, and most important, they got to be awful lucky.
And they have a quarterback starting today by the name of Dan Minucci out of Kansas State. He is a very fine passer on the short passes, so we may see a lot of ball control here today. Anyway, we'll be coming up with the opening kickoff. Let me remind you that this ABC Sports exclusive is sponsored by the Buick Motor Division and your Buick dealer, who proudly announced the 1983 Buicks. Considering the impressive choice in automobiles they offer you, wouldn't you really rather have a Buick? Buy Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of day. Welcome to Miller Time. By Pennzoil Motor Oil, protection worth asking for. And by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge. So we'll be back with the flip of the coin and the opening kickoff in this game between Michigan and Arizona right after this message. Here are the officials for today's game. Tom Miller is our referee. John Bradley is the umpire. Dick Elizabeth is the head linesman. Larry Hill, the line judge. Jim Mullendore, the back judge. And Jim Anderson is the field judge today. And Michigan has won the toss, has elected to receive the football. And so the offensive specialists are out there to get the football. Michigan dressed in that very, I guess you'd call it almost a chocolate brown maroon with the light tan sand-colored pants. On the opposite side of the field, the Arizona Wranglers in their bright yellow with the dark blue side stripes, the gold helmets, and they will be kicking off to the Michigan Panthers, who come into the game with an 11-6 record going into this final game of the 1983 regular season. Michigan return men down there are Lonell Fee, number 86, and Jerome Stelly, number 81. Lonell Fee, of course, was a great speedster from Houston. He will be on the near side right there, number 86. Great wide receiver for the Cougs. And kicking off will be number 85, Phil Denfeld. And we're set to go, and it's been really a very warm afternoon here in Michigan, but the temperature inside the Silver Dome is about 78 to 80 degrees. And here comes Lonell Fee. Big hole for him at the 30, and he goes to the 43-yard line. Tremendous blocking ahead of Lonell Fee, a 38-yard return for him. And Doug Banks brought him down. Now, let's set the offense for the Michigan Panthers, who will have Bobby Hebert as their quarterback. John Williams, the former Wisconsin star. Then Ken Lacey out of Tulsa. Anthony Carter, Derek Holloway, and Mike Cobb, a former Michigan State player, is the tight end. Offensive line, as you can see, has been a very effective line this year. Wayne Radloff, former great All-America from Georgia, the center. He's got Godfrey, McGriff, Dornbrook, and Penny up front. Straight ahead, and it's Lacey getting a couple. Defensively, John Kimmel, number 58, made the stop on that play, but let's look at the rest of them in this three-man front. Calvin Clark, Bob Nelson, and Randy Jostis, with Norris, Looney, Kimmel, and McCoy. And in the deep lanes, it'll be Walker, Epps, Red, and Ronnie Harris. Michigan's ball right on the 45-yard line. We've just begun from the Silver Dome. The Panthers, as I mentioned, have made the playoffs. Just how they will fit in the playoffs will be determined by the action today. They can control that. If they win this, they win the Central Division title. That's what they want to do. And then they will play Oakland here next weekend. It's going to be a little loss on that play. Well covered as John Williams came out of the backfield, and Sam Norris, number 55, out of East Carolina, brought him down.
It's interesting.
Michigan offense, Lee, looks a little tentative to start.
Right. Well, you know, psychologically, you got to give the edge to Arizona. They've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. The first pass of the game was very important. A nice little screen pass to get Hebert, to get a little confidence in it.
Okay, we've got three wide receivers in there now. Anthony Carter, Frank McLean, and Derek Holloway. So we have a third down situation. 3rd and 10. It's intercepted right into the arms of the player who was defending on it. That's number 46, Ronnie Harris. The receiver fell down, actually. And Ronnie Harris returns it all the way down to the Michigan 28-yard line. There's a marker down, however, at the line of scrimmage, so let's not be too certain that the Wranglers will have the ball. May have been a roughing penalty. Let's see. preliminary signal was that it was a foul against Arizona. What a break. Ooh.
Air Bear gets good protection there. They tried a little blitz, as you'll see, to the inside. Now watch right there. He gets hit last. The ball is thrown to the opposite side of Harris. Harris gets up, makes a great run on it. 5'11", 180 pounds from Georgia, a rookie. But that really was the break that Michigan needed to get some juice in them. They look flat right now, and Arizona looks like they come on the play.
Well, when you put down the breaks of the season, that has to rank very high. So it's first down for the Michigan Panthers on the Wranglers' 42-yard line. This is Lacey. Not much there. Covering on the play, number 56 is Larry McCoy out of Lamar, and Roy Epps out of Clemson. Good look at Lacey. Lacey's been a real surprise for them this year. You know, he was a linebacker at one time in his life and decided he'd like to give that up and play fullback, so he went to Tulsa.
Tulsa is 6'1", 220 pounds. His longest run of the year this year has been 59 yards, so he does have enough breakaway speed to score from a long way out.
I'm going to guess that this crowd is well over 30,000 this afternoon to watch these Michigan Panthers in action against Arizona. They have a 2nd and 6 at Lacey. Is back and he's going to throw. Goes deep. Has a man. Holloway's got it for a touchdown. I believe that is the first pass that Lacey has thrown this year.
It won't be the last.
Little Derek Holloway out of Arkansas beat his man down there, and that long, high pass got to him just in time.
You'll notice the handoff goes to Lacey, and it's that same kind of favorite running play. He got McGriff, number 61, and free in front of him. Watch the concentration on Derek Holloway's eyes. Just watch his eyes. You'll see the white of them right there. Watch his concentration. Oh, magnificent play, because his eyes never left sight of that football.
Novo Bojovic puts it up and through. And so, with 12 minutes and 24 seconds to go in this first quarter, Michigan Panthers have to have a little racing luck that certainly can be applied here to this game this afternoon, because if Michigan doesn't get that penalty, they don't have 7 points.
And they don't have the momentum, because Arizona had it to start the game.
All right, here's the boot as Harold Blue is back. Wally Henry's got it. Marker down at the 16-yard line. Didn't take long for the Panthers to move the ball down the field thanks to that 38-yard touchdown pass, the first one thrown by Lacey this year to Holloway. Just 4 plays, but again, a very fortunate break on the intercepted pass that had to be called back. And Arizona, instead of having the ball on the 23-yard line in Michigan territory, gave Michigan the ball in their territory at the 42 with a first down, and then, of course, subsequently the Michigan team scored 2 plays later. Another costly penalty.
Illegal mark above the waist, number 32, first down.
All right, let's take a look at the offense with Dan Minucci starting at the quarterback role. Darrell Clark, the former Texas star, will be one of the running backs. Then Steve Howell, former BYU star. Neil Bauholm be at one of the wide receiver spots. And Harold Blue is starting at fullback in place of Steve Howell. There's a switch. Minucci back. Got his man right over the middle, Mark Keel from Arizona. Now that's the strategy today against this Michigan defense, and that is to control the ball against Hughes, Tiffin, and Padgett. Corker, Bentley, Canavino, and Borland. And Chapman, Greenwood, Arnaud, and Oliver Davis. To control the ball, Minucci's good on the short pass.
And he has to throw the ball quickly to eliminate the pass rush. Boston almost beat this Michigan team with a quick passing game.
7-0 in this first quarter, and Michigan is out in front. On the delay, it's Harold Blue getting up to about the 26-yard line. And number 52, whom you'll hear a lot of today, Carl Borland out of Wisconsin, and Ray Bentley, number 50. Bentley, the leading tackler from Central Michigan.
Bill, I don't know how the game's going to come out, but I'd say this for the Arizona coaching staff already. They are attacking the Michigan defense intelligently. Short passes, quick draws, and some screens.
Second down. Ball is on the 26-yard line. We're just 4 minutes into the game here at the Silverdome, and Michigan is out in front. There's a first down completed to Mark Keel up to the 42-yard line. Oliver Davis on the coverage, number 21.
If you notice from the end zone, Minucci gets good protection, but notice how fast he's throwing the ball. Boom! He's throwing the ball before Corker and his men can get there. Mark Keel has caught 23 passes in the last 4 weeks for this football team, a rookie from University of Arizona.
Question I might ask you is what has happened to Jackie Flowers after catching, 11 passes for touchdowns in the early 2 or 3, 4 games, hasn't caught one for about 10 weeks. Hand off to Blue. No way. Good coverage by the Michigan defense. Alan Hughes, number 98, and Kyle Borland, number 52.
You'll notice they'll try to give what you call an inside handoff, and the left guard pulls number 63 Keywell, but 52 Borland from Wisconsin plays good outside position and makes a tackle. You cannot beat Michigan running east and west, and that means from sideline to sideline. You've got to go right at them and throw the ball, or else they'll just eat you up alive.
So we have a second down. The ball is on the 42-yard line. Arizona trailing 7-0 here in this first quarter. 9 minutes and 37 seconds to go in it. Beauty. Oh, and what a hit. Incompleted. Clarence Chapman put a stop right on the receiver, and it hurt him.
Watch the hit by Chapman from Eastern Michigan. It's a fair legal hit, but let me tell you something right now. Upstairs, the coach is saying, we've got to throw the ball deeper. Clarence Chapman, number 22, should not be that close to the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to try to throw a long one to loosen those secondary backs up.
So Clarence Chapman, the former Michigan star, makes the stop on Keel. It wasn't Keel. It might have been Mike Hearn. Can't quite see. There's a good look at Doug Shively, Arizona coach.
Doug is 44 years old. He was a former assistant coach at Atlanta. He's hired all assistant coaches who are good teachers. Very good point.
So the clock is stopped. 9 minutes and 31 seconds to go in this first quarter. The Michigan Panthers, who have already clinched a playoff spot, are leading 7-0.
This is the Xerox 620 memory writer. Since it came out, the people who make the Selectric have brought out a new improved electronic Model 85. But it can't print as fast as the 620. It can't be upgraded to add more memory. And it has no display to make revisions and correct mistakes before they get on paper. Like this.
Former UCLA star, play with the Eagles. Third down and 10. Minucci rifles one, and it's intercepted. On the ricochet, number 21, Oliver Davis of Tennessee State, got the ball as it slithered through the fingers of the intended receiver, Keith McGee.
Now you watch Neil Ballholm from BYU go back. Now, this is not Minucci's fault. He drilled this one right through Ballholm's hand, and there's no reason in the world he shouldn't have caught this ball. And then good reaction by Oliver Davis. Right there, that ball goes right through his hands, and Oliver Davis just lucky. Now, right now, the brakes have gone to the Michigan team, and what Arizona's got to be careful. They cannot afford to get blown out early, or they're liable to fold a tent and go home. Then
Big
they're in
play
trouble.
by Oliver Davis. So it's Michigan's ball on the 43-yard line. The Panthers are out in front by 7. Pretty good defensive player as Ken Lacey started through. And number 59, James Looney, the former Purdue star, spent a year with the 49ers. Number 59 made the stop.
No one gets in our way! No one gets in our way! No one gets in our way!
Second down.
No one gets in our way!
Ball on the 47. Oh, look at that hole. There's a marker down. Ken Lacey goes roaring through a big hole in the line, but it may be called back. Oh, it's offside against Arizona. Oh, look at this hole that was opened up, and apparently legally.
Watch. Lacey just hit the hole, and they love to trap with McGriff. Notice 61. He's the best trapper I've seen in the United States Football League without any question. Number 74, Penny. That's a Pittsburgh Steeler favorite play, and I tell you what, Franco Harris never ran it any better than Ken Lacey.
So the Panthers have moved the ball down to the 27-yard line. Leading ball carrier for the team. Right on the mark. Derek Holloway gets the ball right from Bobby Hebert, and you have to be impressed with Hebert. The one thing that he can do, he doesn't have to take that ball all the way back. He rifles it right from the top of his shoulder.
Derek Holloway come to the inside. Now, the one good thing about this play that you cannot see is that Williams, number 40, ran out in the flat and widened that area. You'll say, why is that guy so wide open? Because number 56 was following number 40 in the flat. He was wide open and a good shot. He's not very big, but he's strong.
Second down and a yard. And there's Lacey picking up the first down inside the 10-yard line. Well, it's what you said earlier, Lee. It's the fact that Michigan has a balanced attack. That is the secret to their success.
Let me tell you the secret to winning championships. If you don't believe me, check out the Redskins and every other football team that's making this playoff. You become a running football team that can throw the ball, and you got a better chance to win the championship than anything else. If you don't believe me, ask Tampa Bay.
Which was eliminated, by the way, from the playoffs last night with the loss to Birmingham.
By a running team.
First and goal to go inside the 10. Michigan leading 7-0. We're in the first quarter, 7 minutes to go, and this is going to be another touchdown. Lacey roars through a big opening. Harold Blue, the single man back. Arizona trailing 14-0. Manucci rifles one across, got his man right at the 39-yard line. And it's Jackie Flowers, and we're glad to see he's back on his feet again. The former Florida State star was shaken up on a hit by Chapman. One of our other games going on today, Boston trailing New Jersey 3-0. Well, the Breakers can't afford to lose, of course, that one. They still have some hopes. It's 100 degrees, we understand, in Boston, as the eastern seaboard is getting one of those muggy heat waves. First down for the Wranglers. On the draw. Ray Bentley, number 50, is a man who has been in on many a tackle this year for the Michigan Panthers. And the other game has Chicago leading Oakland. By the way, Oakland will be Michigan's opponent if the Panthers continue to win today. They will play here in the Silverdome next Sunday. Second down. Almost 10. That one is almost picked off. Right out of the fingertips of Neil Ballholm. And Borland, the former Wisconsin star, almost had himself one. There's a marker down back at the line of scrimmage.
I think you'll find it's holding on the offensive line as they go. And then one of the things that happens to you when you start losing, everything seems to go wrong because it comes psychologically. Now, that guy should have caught that ball.
Which one?
Either one. The best play of that play was the lineman that held. He kept the quarterback from getting hurt. Now, I've said this before in a telecast, but some offensive line coaches actually teach that if a guy gets a clean shot at your quarterback. It's worth 10 yards to have your quarterback still available.
This is the third.
Second down.
Number 78 is Vince Stroth from Brigham Young, big 266-pound tackle. who was found guilty on that one. That's the third Arizona penalty for 27 yards. That does not, however, tell the story of the most damaging of all penalties, when Arizona had picked off a Michigan pass, carried it to the 23-yard line in the first series of plays, and then they were detected roughing the passer and had to give the ball back, and Michigan scored 2 plays later. Mark Keel couldn't hang on to that one.
Couldn't hang on to that one because he was watching for the defensive back to hit him. Now watch as he's going for the football. Watch his head turn and look to his right to see if that guy's going to hit him. Right there. See his eyes? That's called intimidation. Now that'll happen to you sometimes if you get behind real quick and you don't have much to do. Arizona has one thing going for them. They got good character on that football team, and they got a chance to come back. But they're going to need a big play, Bill.
Well, it's 3rd and 20. And they're trailing 14-0, 5:33 to go in the first quarter. Minucci with plenty of protection, spins it out here too far. It's headed for Jackie Flowers. I'll tell you one thing, Minucci does have a big arm. He throws the ball very, very strong. Sometimes maybe a little too strong. 4th down. Mike Mees has gone in the lineup, formerly from Arizona. Anthony Carter led the Big Ten in punt returns. His value to Michigan was, without question, he was named the most valuable player his senior year. Mike Whitehead will do the long snap here, and it's perfect. Oh, and what a kick. It drives Carter all the way back to the 15-yard line.
Watch out, he's got a hole.
Oh, look at him move. Trapped on the sidelines and out of bounds, and boy, the official really got nailed. That was a 53-yard punt, and the official is out cold. Carter, trying to backtrack, ran right into the official, and he took a terrible shot. Just somersaulted him over.
Carter is most dangerous when he can break to the outside like he used to do at the University of Michigan. Now watch, that's when I said he's got a hole. As he comes to the left, somebody peels back and hits the official.
No, he does. Watch.
Carter?
Yeah, right there. See, it knocked him right down.
There's another angle of it. Looks like number 80 or 40 knocks Carter into the official.
That's right.
He's up.
Well, I'll tell you this. He took a long count. That's Jim Mullendorf, who is the back judge.
He might be the toughest guy on that side of the field. Whew.
Glad to see him get up. You know, those fellas running around down there, all they've got is the zebra shirt, no protection.
Plus, they're a lot older.
All right, a good look at Bobby Hebert from Northwest Louisiana State, who's guided these Panthers to a playoff berth this year. And he's backed up by an excellent quarterback from Vanderbilt, Whit Taylor, and another newcomer, Mark Miller. Anthony Carter at the 42-yard line, and he's spilled right there by John Kimmel. But I've heard Lee Corso say many times it takes courage to make that cut across and make that.
Let me tell you, he's 5'11", 162 pounds, and yet he comes across in the middle where all those gorillas are. Watch, he got good concentration, and he gets cracked by Kimmel. Kimmel's 6'4", 240 pounds, and Carter just went right down. Carter is the most exciting football player I coached against in the Big Ten in the 10 years I was there.
Really?
Yes, by far.
Well, Hebert has been 3 for 3. Lacey has 1 pass today. So Michigan has been 4 for 4 in the passing department. There is Cleo Miller in place of Ken Lacey, number 33, at the fullback spot. Cleo comes from Arkansas Pine Bluff. Played with the Cleveland Browns, what, for 8 or 9 years. He's a real veteran.
There's Jim Stanley. He come a long way from Lynch, Kentucky to Texas A&M with Bear Bryant, from Amarillo High School with Bum Phillips to here.
Second down, 8. Fumble, and it's covered by Arizona. Ken Lacey fumbled the ball, and the Arizona number 74, that's Calvin Clark, was the first man to it. I don't know whether he got official recognition for the recovery. Oh, there's the handoff. It never even got to it.
This is what I was talking about. Arizona needed. They need some kind of a break to get back in the ball game, because obviously the team in white is not as good as the team in the dark jerseys. But they got to have a break, and they just got one. Now it's very important that they don't do nothing stupid. Take a nice drive and score, make it 14-7, and they're back in the game.
Well, the game plan was, as you know, by Doug Shively, is to keep control of the ball. First down. Nothing there, as Harold Blue is met by the defensive forward wall. Alan Hughes, number 98, Kyle Borland, number 52, John Corker, number 57, Ray Bentley. It's a tough defensive front.
Yeah, the reason this play doesn't work, it's a delayed play. You cannot run a delayed play against a bunch of guys who are crazy and are going after you, because when you do all that delay action, they're coming right after you. I've watched Michigan 4 times this year, and the only football team that almost beat them with inferior personnel was Boston, with screens, draws, and a quick passing game.
Loss of 2 on the play, second down and 12. 3:06 to go in the first quarter. Michigan leading 14-0. Manucci rifles one across. He's got Jackie Flowers, or is it McGee? McGee, number 84. And it's a first down.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about a 6-yard and break it inside. This is what Boston did, and throw the ball to him before Michigan could get to him. Michigan has sacked the quarterback 70 times this year for 898 yards and minus yardage.
And a former Oklahoma State star, Mike Edwards, a rookie, was the one who made the stop right at midfield. Now there's a draw that gets about 2. As Blue makes it just across the midfield stripe.
I'm laughing, but at least it got to the line of scrimmage. That other one didn't even get to the line of scrimmage.
Alan Hughes, a homegrown product from Western Michigan, was the man who made the stop on the play. Chicago now leading Oakland in the first quarter 10-0 in that game at Soldier Field. And Boston now has overtaken New Jersey, leading 7-3 in the first quarter. So both those teams fighting for one other spot. If Michigan, of course, continues to win here, the Panthers would sew up the Central Division Championship and go on to play Oakland next weekend. Down he goes, and the ball is loose. Alan Hughes brought him down, but the whistle had blown at the 45. John Corker thought he might have had eyes on the end zone.
Now you'll understand why. That's the difference between that pass and the pass that had been thrown. That's a timing pass where he went back deeper. Now watch. He'll go back about 7 yards. He'll fake. You don't have to fake. They just keep coming. They don't care where you are. You notice how deep he is? That gave the defensive line, Hughes in particular, a chance to get to him. You don't have enough time against him, Bill.
Third down and 15. Manucci looking things over. Remember, the Wranglers also had Alan Risher on the sideline, the rookie out of LSU, who started the season, but he's gotten banged up a little bit. And oh, look at this. Talk about getting banged up. Corker just absolutely drew a bead on him and leveled Manucci, and we may see Risher come into the lineup right now because Manucci's hurt. Blindsided, and he really took one.
This was a busted assignment. Somebody was supposed to block him. I don't want to call names, but I'll tell you what, the coaching staff's got better protection principles than that. And when you get hit from that side, what happens to you, you fall on your shoulder. And that's usually what happens to you. Watch the angle here. Watch him fall on his shoulder as he's blindsided. Right there. You see him? They usually fall on their right shoulder. And that's a serious injury because he's a right-handed quarterback.
Well, he's sitting up, as you can see, but he said, listen, I don't want to take too many of those.
That's what you call a lookout block. That's when the offensive...
Drove Carter all the way back. A play Mr. Mullendor will remember for some time to come. Fourth down and 20. And another tremendous kick. And they're going to be charged with roughing the kicker. Here comes Carter, but it will be nullified, and he'll be very sorry if he goes all the way. From the line of scrimmage, 48 yards on that one. But the marker down indicates that somebody was a little over anxious. I thought it was number 45 of the Michigan team. We'll see who it was.
This replay will show one of the most dangerous positions to be in football, which is the punter with his leg up in the air right here. Number 45 hits him right there. Now you notice the difference between that and the time you'll see a guy hit a guy when somebody knocks him into him. The rule is this: if your defensive man is knocked into him by an offensive man, it is not roughing the kicker.
Running into the kicker on number 45, first down.
Number 45 is Tom Moriarty out of Bowling Green. And obviously Jim Stanley doesn't like that because it denies them the ball. 41 seconds to go in the first quarter. The ball is on the 45-yard line, and it's a first down for the Wranglers, who are trailing by the score of 14-0. A good look at Doug Shively, who's had some problems during the later part of the season. The team has lost 9 games in a row. Manucci's back in the lineup. Good fake by Manucci, and down the center he goes. Ricochets off one man. Ooh, that was dangerous. Andy Canavino almost had his hands on the ball. There's Alan Risher right there on the headset.
Canavino, number 62, is a former All-American in Michigan. He will play the run and drop back, and he just plays zone. Zone means he just watches the quarterback's eyes, and great deflection. Now, this is the tip drill. The defensive coaches work on it all the time. 62 would tip it, and Arnaud with 25 would intercept it.
So it brings up a second down with 36 seconds to go in the first quarter. We apologize for the squeals in our audio that you're occasionally hearing at home. We hear them here too. We can't figure out where they're coming from. I know it isn't Lee, and it's not me. It isn't Steve. Way over the head of Jackie Flowers. Well, in case you joined us late, Birmingham defeated Tampa Bay last night. Chicago is leading Oakland. Boston is leading New Jersey. Michigan is leading here. And the playoff picture is simply this, that if Michigan wins, Michigan will play Oakland next Sunday here in the Silverdome in one of the playoff games. Then it will be determined by what those other two teams do today, whom Philadelphia will play. Now, if Boston should win and Chicago lose, it would scramble that playoff picture somewhat. We'll explain that. Manucci over the center, and he's got Flowers. First down on the 42-yard line, and Clarence Chapman, even though he was right there, couldn't do a darn thing about it.
And let me tell you something. Jackie Flowers has had a problem catching the ball across the middle. That's the rap on it. But that play right there showed me that man's got a lot of courage. He's 6'1", 191 from my old school, Florida State.
So it stops the clock with just a second to go here. And now they shoot the gun. We're at the end of the first quarter. Michigan leads.
A true value.
Well, you're looking at the ceiling of the famous Silver Dome here in Pontiac, the scene of Super Bowl 16 2 years ago, and the 49ers defeated Cincinnati. The scene today of the Michigan Panthers, who are all over the ball carrier. Number 58, Will Coakley from Kansas State, got to Harold Blue before Harold could take 2 steps.
Coakley is an outside linebacker, 6'1", 225, and he blitzes. In other words, he's coming there behind the pulling guard. Number 63, Keywell, pulls, and when he does that, he leaves a little hole in the line of scrimmage, and that's why Coakley got in there free. Nice guess. Either that or they're reading the lips of the quarterback.
So it makes it a 2.5 to 3 yard loss, and it's second down and about 13. The Wranglers have to get something going here at the beginning of the second quarter. They're trailing by 14 points, hurt by penalties. There's one. Mark Keel from Arizona, still on his feet. Missed a couple of times. And now the ball goes over to Michigan. Well, that sometimes happens. Fighting to keep balance and then losing concentration, and the ball flies out. That's John Arnaud from Iowa State, number 25.
You never fault a football player for making an aggressive mistake. He catches the ball. Now watch how many guys. One, he hits about 6 guys, and when you run past Hughes and those guys, those are men. the coach will never, ever criticize this guy for fighting for that extra yardage. And they strip the ball from him, and Arnaud jumps on it. But I tell you what, that was a nice play by a rookie from Arizona.
So Michigan's ball on the Michigan 34-yard line in this opening moment of the second quarter. Sweep, Johnny Williams from Wisconsin. Boy, Michigan remembers that play well. You remember when Michigan was #1 in the country, and they went to Madison 2 years ago and got knocked off, and John Williams was one of the guys that did it. On just plays like that.
Watch the left guard pull. I tell you what, this is a picture-perfect number 61. Tyrone McGriff gets a great block outside there, and from then on it's Williams. And as Bill said, in his senior year, Williams at Wisconsin beat Ohio State and Michigan with long plays. He gives them a little bit of that.
I like that sound effect.
Oh,
It's descriptive.
it's an old neighborhood trick.
First down. What do they do here? Right over the middle they go. Don Eccles. And Hebert was hurt. Hebert is wearing a flak jacket on the left side. He's got some cracked ribs there and a slight shoulder separation on his left shoulder. Doesn't hamper his throwing any, and it looked like he winced a couple of times.
He has really improved since the first time he played Arizona. The first Arizona game.
Here comes Whit Taylor in the lineup for him.
Good move by Coach Stanley. In the first game in the second quarter, about this time, he got a head injury and went out of the ball game, and Whit Taylor only hit 5 for 8 for 198 yards.
And a touchdown.
Whew.
Whit Taylor, the former Vanderbilt star. You know, he was second to Herschel Walker as the player of the year in the Southeastern Conference. That says something for a Vanderbilt player, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Doesn't often get the recognition that the Alabamas and the Tennessees and the LSUs and the Georgias get.
He was the #1 passer in the history of Vanderbilt and the first team All-SEC quarterback. That young man right there.
And Hebert goes back in. First down on the 28-yard line. Michigan leading 14-0 here in this second quarter. 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Williams on another sweep, but this time no soap. Roy Epps from Clemson comes in there and dumps it. Number 43.
That is the strong safety on an inside blitz, and that's interesting because when the right guard Thornbrook pulled, remember that little hole that they Michigan went behind? Thornbrook pulled, and then come Roy Epps from Clemson, 6 foot 195, and he caught him in the backfield.
Another score from Boston, and the Breakers have gone ahead of New Jersey by 11. Look at Lacey. Oh, he just keeps those knees high and clicked right up against his chin as he runs to the 25-yard line.
Again, it's that pulling guard and trapping situation. They like to pull. This time they pulled the left tackle, Chris Godfrey from Michigan. It's the same kind of theory, though. Let the lineman come across and trap him. Lacey is a powerful runner. He leads the league with men over 1,000 yards with yards per rush, 5.
Well, he has 68 yards to his credit today, and credit him also with a brilliant touchdown pass. First score that Michigan made. Hebert way over the head of his intended receiver. Fourth down, and Bojovic will come in the lineup. Oh, he's a bubbly little guy. He wanted to talk all about Yugoslavia. You know, he said, listen, you're going there, aren't you? I said, yes, we're going there for the Olympics. Oh, he said, you will love it. I said, well, you know, it's not the first time we've ever been to Yugoslavia. We love your country.
I could not believe he was sitting with those cheerleaders before the game. I don't think I could coach anymore.
He's 7 out of 12 from the range that he is now, which is 42 yards. Oh, he's got plenty of foot on this one. He's got it. Novo Bojovic puts it through for the 17th point of Michigan. So we have 10 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the first half here from the Silver Dome, and the Panthers take another step toward the championship.
Field in Boston, the Breakers and New Jersey Generals. Second quarter action. Richard Crump closing in on 1,000 yards. Scampers to pay dirt, capping an 81-yard drive on 9 plays as the Boston Breakers take a 14-3 lead over the New Jersey Generals. It's muggy here. Now back to Pontiac and Bill Fleming.
And a further note on the Boston Breakers: should Chicago lose today and Boston wins, that would mean that Michigan would play Philadelphia, because they would not have Boston and Philadelphia in the same division playing each other in the first playoff game. Here's Wally Henry. So we'll keep you up to date on that game that's going on at Nickerson Field with Mike Barry. And the Wranglers will take over the ball, trailing by 17 points. Michigan has dominated things offensively, Lee.
Yes, and with the balance, they've got 160 yards rushing and passing, and they've got about 85 to 85, or 85 to 75. And they got good balance, and that's what makes them a great football team. As I said at the beginning of the show, that makes them a champion.
First down for Arizona as Minucci, although shaken up earlier, throws a beauty right on the sidelines, and it is missed by Mark Keel.
Now you'll see that coach right there is Ken Stevenson, a former Kansas line coach, and he's talking to the offensive line, and they've got a board down there, and he's probably going over some of the stunts that the other team has done. Ken Stevenson is a fine young coach.
Let's see if we can hear him.
See, he's talking about that blitz where they had him and give him a problem. That's that little guy he circled there.
I'll tell you, it's been tough yardage up the middle against Michigan. Orland is always in there.
Well, when you've got a guy like Dave Tipton, 6'2", 260 in there, he played 4 years for the New England team and for Hamilton. He's a tough guy in that middle, and he kind of keeps everything going. Then they bring in a guy named Ira Albright. I think he's in there now. 6 feet, 260 pounds. Would you say he's short and stocky?
I like the nickname of Loia.
Oh, I'll tell that story in a second.
Yeah, you got to tell that story. The player,
that's the greatest. Don't leave, folks.
Washington.
That's the greatest story you ever heard.
Third down and 7. The Wranglers with a third. Ball is caught by Blue, and he's going to be very close to the first down. He tried to stretch it out, and Ray Bentley was hanging on to him, number 50.
You'll notice they'll send everybody down the field, and then Blue, number 20, will sneak around. You'll notice he's in the bottom of your picture. All of a sudden, he'll pop up like he's in the open field. Now, when you catch the ball, Blue, head up north and south, not east and west. You see that? That one step, and boom, Cannavino knocked him down.
Yeah, and it cost him that precious foot. All he needed was one more foot for the first down. He didn't get it. Mees is punting. One official punt today of 56 yards. The other one of 48 was called back because he was roughed. Look at this one. Moving in there is Lonnell Fee. Lonnell heads for the sideline. And this speedster from Houston prances out of bounds at the 48-yard line. We have 8 minutes and 6 seconds to go here in the first half at the Silver Dome in Pontiac. And the Panthers are out in front, 17-0.
77-3.
Lee Corso and Steve Garagiola from the Silver Dome in Pontiac. And the Michigan Panthers are getting ever closer to the Central Division Championship. They have a 17-0 lead over the Wranglers, and they have the ball on their own 49-yard line with 8:06 to go in the first half. On the delay, that's Lacey, and look at the hole that the offensive line opens up for him. He gets a quick 10. Oh, that blocking up front. I'll tell you, number 61, McGriff, out of Florida A&M, has really played a game today.
He and Godfrey on the left side are very, very fine pass blockers. And that time they put Williams in motion to kind of draw the linebacker out, and all of a sudden they went in that little hole. There's nice little subtle changes by the Michigan team that are very impressive from a coaching standpoint.
Just short of a first down by about a foot. So it's second down.
Watch the bomb.
And that is Williams, who catches it at the 39 and steps out of bounds. Sam Norris from East Carolina covering. Notice that thing that Bobby Hebert has on his wrist there. He's taping. Those are his plays. See all that? It's kind of like a crib sheet. And he's got them all numbered there. And you see he looks at them. They flash the play in from the sideline. And he looks at it and tells the team.
They flash the number in, like number 7, and then he looks in there and he says 7, and they read it out, and he reads it.
First down. A lot of protection for Bobby Hebert. Oh, and then he can't get it out here to Lacey. Well, it happens a lot of times. You know, you get the steel elbow.
The one change that he can make from that is he has the option if he sees a blitz. Like I said, watch for the bomb, the play before that. They showed a blitz, and he checked off at the line of scrimmage and said, we're not going to run that play I just called. You see a picture? They're not going to run that play. I'm going to run another play, and he calls it out on the line of scrimmage. Now, see, he's looking for the number. Let's say the coaches signal in number 14. On the 14 sheet would be, watch the lag pass.
It's 50. So number 50 is the slot.
B choice means that one of the backs are going to run a pattern to try to get open. Number 40 or 28.
Lacey's got it. Belted back after he gets his forward progress to the 34-yard line.
You know, you can be a great quarterback, but you got to have an offensive line. If you watch 61, McGriff, Radloff, number 55, Dornbrook, number 63, and Penny, number 74, they're great pass protectors. You got time. Boy, that's a nice job. And Coach Ken Stevenson coaches the offensive line. And a Coach Bob Leahy calls the plays from upstairs, a former Oklahoma State coach.
6.5 minutes to go in the first half. Michigan out in front 17-0, and threatening again here on the 35-yard line with a third down. Hebert dumps it across the center. He's got the big tight end. That's Mike Cobb out of Michigan State. Just short of the first down, or did he get it? I guess his progress was to the 29. Mike is 6'5" and 255, and I guess that's a fairly good dimension for a tight end.
He's from Youngstown, Ohio. I tried to recruit him to Indiana. He went to Michigan State. Now that play, they ran Lacey 28 deep and came underneath with Cobb, number 89. Underneath means that 28 cleared the area, and 89 snuck underneath it.
Ball on the 28-yard line. First down for Michigan. 5 minutes and 39 seconds to go in the first half, and the Panthers are out in front 17-0 before a tremendous crowd here today on a very warm July day, and a lot of competition in town for the sports-minded fan. That's Lacey, and Looney nailed him, the former Purdue star, number 59.
The offensive line on the left, McGriff 61, Godfrey come across. They're trying it. What they're doing in this play is they're just blocking area. If you notice, they're all standing up holding each other. That's called screen blocking, and you can do that because you get up in front of the man's face and he can't find a ball carrier.
Okay, what can we expect here now?
Well, the chart says that either one of the outside men have got to run somewhere open, anywhere they want. Looks like an inside or outside right there.
Right there. He's called it right on the nose.
How much do you think we could charge the next team if they wanted to listen to these plays?
Anthony Carter steps out of bounds on the 12-yard line.
Carter has caught 8 touchdown passes. He just drives the man deep. The man is afraid. He's got this one, what they call option. Means he could run inside or outside. The man played him on the inside, which is number 46 Harris, so he ran to the outside. That play is called choice, which means you've got the choice. The quarterback will watch you.
Cleo Miller has gone in with John Williams in the backfield, and Anthony Carter comes over here to the wideout spot on the right. Play number F39. What's that?
Score a touchdown.
And it's Johnny Williams who somersaults to about the 8-yard line. Number 90 in on the initial stop. That is Reggie Fowler out of Wyoming.
You know, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but this is a perfect drive, Bill. Exactly what I talked about, balance. You don't know, and the Arizona poor team, they don't have any idea where Michigan's going to hit them. They hit them with a Carter pass, they run around the end, they go over across the middle, and that guy, Doug Shively's got a problem. The team he's coaching against has got better players than he does.
Second down. About 8. Ball. Well, they actually have to go to about the 1.5-yard line. There's a good defensive play and a flag on it. Cleo Miller made the run, and Randy Justice, number 99, along with James Looney, number 59. But let's see what it's going to be holding against Michigan.
And that is the second time in the 12 games that I've been watching the United States Football League that's been a holding on the running play. Most of the time they hold them when it's a pass. I can't tell you who did it, but this nice pull by McGriff, 61. He misses him. Somebody in there grabbed a hold of him.
That was Bob Nelson, a nose tackle, who made the great defensive stop, the rookie out of Miami of Florida, number 65. Give him credit for that because he made a great play.
He's a strong guy. He holds 4 different weightlifting titles at the University of Miami. He's a very strong physical person.
Boy, speaking of that, how about Derek Holloway, who is 5'7" and 162, and he can bench press 385 for Michigan. That's not bad for a wide receiver. Second down, over the middle, and it is batted away. Good defensive play by the covering man on Cleo Miller, number 58, Johnny Kimmel from Colgate.
Oh, that was a great play by Kimball. He's 6'4", 240, as you said. He's got the tight end man for man, and he does a great job. You'll see him in the right-hand part of your picture trying to cover the tight end, and looks up at the last minute. Excuse me, he was trying to cover Miller coming out of the backfield. Right, he's a geology major. Must be a nice, smart young man.
Well, I think he's got eyes in the back of his head because he wasn't looking at the ball. He just kind of maybe instinctively knew it was coming and threw his hand out. Third down. All right, Michigan has a 17-0 lead with 3:55 to go, trying to get an insurance touchdown before halftime. Blitz on. Hold him out pretty well. Corner. Carter has it. Zipped away. Thought for a moment that Eddie Ray Walker might have gotten the ball.
Oh, let me tell you something, folks. You're not going to see a better defensive play than Eddie Lee Walker's reaction right here. Watch. He gives up at the last minute. He's reacting to the ball. Carter thinks he's got another touchdown. Watch this reaction. Oh, that's a tremendous play. That young man played for me in the East-West game, and he did a tremendous job there for us from Southern Mississippi.
Novo Bojovic, who hit a 42-yarder earlier, will try one from 36 now, and he's 5 for 6 in that range. And they're going to fake it. Whit Taylor throws it to the corner. It is batted away. Ron Harris was the man who batted the ball away. Whit Taylor threw the ball, and Bojovic, who was the normal kicker, was the intended receiver. How about that one?
And Michigan gets a standing ovation for trying that play. Now, remember, watch, the quarterback rolls to the right, but the kicker is eligible to receive the pass. You know, this is a magnificent pass. Watch it. This is right in his hands. Oh. If he'd have caught that one, those cheerleaders would never heard the end of it.
So we'll be back with 3:42 to go in the half in a moment.
Rev it up on that daring oval at Daytona. Plus some of the world's fastest men, Scott, Marie, and more expected in a Dream Mile. ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
Bill Fleming, Lee Corso, and Steve Garagiola from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the scene of Super Bowl 16 and the scene today of the Michigan Panthers in their final regular season game, and they're leading 17-0 over the Arizona Wranglers. We have 3:42 to go in the first half. Manucci fires it to Flowers on the sideline. He's out of bounds when he caught it. Doesn't count.
The rule says that you must have both feet in bounds when you catch the football. Now, you be a judge for yourself from this angle. Nope. Just had one in. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Michigan has 100 yards passing and 101 rushing. Does that answer that question about balance I said? That's why they're going to make it to the championship.
the leading offensive team in the United States Football League, the Michigan Panthers. Minucci, heat from behind. He delivers it just in time, and it's a completed pass to the 27-yard line. I think Steve Garagiola has a report for us.
Thank you, Bill. I'm here with place kicker Novo Borjovich. Novo, we knew you could kick. You look like Anthony Carter on that pass play.
No, I was trying to be like Anthony Carter. See, like, we always did this, you know, like, we tried this, like, since season start, and coach told me that I can catch the ball, and I'm pretty fast and stuff, so I thought I can run those defensive backs or linebackers, whoever back there is. And it worked all week and stuff, so coach put in the playbook, and we tried it, and we almost had it. He barely got the ball with a fingerprint.
You think you're Gary Yepremian, don't you?
I don't know. You know, I want to be an old boy. That's it.
Thank you, Novo. Bill, back to you.
All right. He comes from the southern part of Yugoslavia and said, yes, I will be there for the Olympics if I am not kicking in America. 3:04 to go in the first half. Back in a moment. Michigan today, and the Panthers have made the playoffs in their first season in the United States Football League. I imagine that Mr. Alfred Taubman and Max Fisher, the co-owners of the team, are delighted. Oh, what a hit. Calvin Murray, the former Ohio State star, had a welcoming committee right at the line of scrimmage, and John Corker, Ray Bentley, and Kyle Borland.
This is called a jump play, which means he tried to jump for the first down. Remember, any part of his body that hits the furthest part of the field is where the ball is spotted. So right there with that extra effort, the young man from Ohio State made a first down.
One he will remember. That's Borland.
Boy, they're all over.
Bentley right
Bentley,
there.
wow.
50.
He has 78 tackles this year and 24 assists. He's the number 2 ranked tackler on this football team. Ray Bentley, number 50.
This is the first down that Arizona has made here in the second quarter, and we played almost 13 minutes. That was not inbounds. He was out of bounds. Jackie Flowers just not, the timing isn't quite right. One step too far.
He's got to know where the part of the field is. Now, what you try to do is drive the man deep, and now what they have a drill called the drag feet drill. Catch the ball, now Jackie, and drag your feet. He almost got it in. That ball just took him out a little bit outside. He's had great coaching at Florida State in the passing game from Bobby Bowden. He's a good football player. He's young, but he's a good one.
Second down and 10. The Wranglers have 2:11 to go here in the first half to try to get on that scoreboard. They're trailing 17-0. Little one over the center, picked up by Steve Howell, the fullback. There's a marker down, and it may be that Minucci was roughed again.
Absolutely.
Was it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A flagrant foul. They went after him. Now, what they have, we have a new. I always had a statistic called a scare. That means if you get close to the guy, make sure if you can't hit him, you scare him. Now, this is a real good hit from the left side of your picture. You'll see coming in right here. You see that?
Oh yeah.
The elbow around the face. That is dangerous. And in some cases, you can disqualify a football player.
Well, I'm not so sure it was deliberate. I mean, the man was coming, and of course, he was knocked into him by the man coming in on the right. So you have to take that into consideration.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. We tack it on because the pass was complete. First down.
Well, that says it, doesn't it? Fish is doing a good job today and taking a good deal of punishment from the rather warm, humid air in this Silver Dome. That's Tom Miller, the referee, and earlier Jim Mullendor was KO'd on the sideline, but he got up off the canvas and is continuing as the back judge. First down. Arizona and Michigan territory. 2:02 to go in the first half. Long one down the sidelines, too far. It's headed for Keith McGee. And John Arnaud was the man who was covered. So we are now into that 2-minute zone. 1 minute and 58 seconds to go in the first half. And the Panthers of Michigan are leading the Wranglers of Arizona 17-0.
This is Big Red, the Honda ATC built especially for work, with its 3 fat tires.
Now the question is, what will Arizona do with 1 minute and 58 seconds to go and a second down situation?
One thing, Michigan has gone to the 5 defensive back concept. So Arizona's got to be careful of throwing a ball across the middle because there's an extra back in there that might intercept it.
Okay, they've got Oliver Davis, John Arnaud, David Greenwood, and Clarence Chapman, and Albert Gray, the sixth man. Minucci goes over the middle, incomplete. Almost ricochets into the hands of Jackie Flowers. Mark Keel covered by Greenwood on the play, and there's Gray, who was also covered.
They went to the shotgun. The reason they go to the shotgun is to give the quarterback a little bit more time, but they run the full blitz. Here comes number 53, Edwards. Here comes number 58, Coakley, and they put the pressure on when Greenwood makes a good defensive play. One of the problems with the shotgun is the fact that you say, hey, buddy, I'm going to throw the ball, and those guys can really come flying after the quarterback.
Third down. The Wranglers trailing here 17-0, and they get more heat as Corker wrestles his man to the ground at the 42-yard line. John Corker out of Oklahoma State. Spent 3 years with the Oilers.
You'll see number 57 from the far side of your screen come in. This is his 17th or 27th and a half sack. He just overpowers number 35, the blocking back, Steve Howe, and just crushes the quarterback. He himself, up until this game, had 178 yards, negative yardage against the other teams. That's amazing to me.
That's the third sack on Minucci for 21 yards. And it forces a kick as Mees is back. He's averaged 50 yards today, and he gets another boomer. Oh, this is a terrific kick. It goes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. So that stops the clock. 1:13 to go after that 47-yard boot. And Michigan will take over the ball when we come back. Well, we take a look at Bobby Hebert, who has his plays taped to his wrist. Remindful of Tom Matty of the Colts when he subbed for the injured Johnny Unitas and had to fill in the breach there. Bit of nostalgia furnished by the venerable Bill Friel, who's been our loyal spotter for so many years and has joined us today. Here comes Johnny Williams. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 17-yard line. James Looney on the chase.
John Williams adds one thing to the Michigan attack. It's an interesting thing, and I'll go over this one time. At 2nd down and 2 on the Michigan 35 with 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go on April the 17th, the score was 6-0 Chicago over Michigan. They brought this kid into the game. He ran 15 yards, set up a field goal. They were behind 6-3. They came back out. He ran 24 yards, 31 yards. They won. They were 9-2 since that moment.
And he's 4 carries for 30 yards today. 2nd down, 3. Hebert fires it out here to Derek Holloway, and he gets the first down at the 24-yard line, and we have 1:04 to go. Michigan fields, and Jim Stanley repeated it again. He said, I don't care if we're 21 points or 24 points up in this league, that's not good enough. And I really believe they're trying to get another one.
I think so, because number one thing they got to be careful is if they let down, there's a second half, and you can come back and win that game. Arizona's got the capabilities with a couple of breaks to win this game in the second half, but they got to be very careful. Don't let them get another one.
So Hebert brings the team up with a 1st and 10 on the 24-yard line. Good protection again, and he just dumps it off to Mike Cobb over the center, the tight end for Michigan State, who played with the Bengals and the Bears for 6 years in the National Football League. Bobby looks at the clock, sees 53 showing. He trots over here to the sideline, and he'll talk to Jim Stanley and Mark Miller.
You'll watch number 75, the official. You'll see the guy. We use that play a lot of times to screen and use the official to screen a defensive man, and they did that there perfect. The man will go down like Cobb did and just turn away, and the official is actually a blocker for him. You see that ball-headed guy? That's George Dickerson. He's a famous old veteran. Dixon, excuse me, I'm sorry. 18-year veteran of professional football, and adds a lot of class to this program at Michigan.
You know, I remember him back at Southern California, back in the early days.
As a player? Or
no, as a coach.
Oh. I didn't think you looked old enough to remember him as a player.
He's a former Notre Dame guard.
He's a good one. He's a good veteran. He adds a lot of savvy to this Michigan Panther coaching staff.
Well, it is second down. 2 to go. The Panthers are out in front. 17-0. We have 53 seconds to go in the first half. Hebert spirals it to Carter. Boy, look out. He can move away from anybody on this football team, and he does. Did you see that acceleration? He just hits the burners and goes. 63 yards for Anthony Carter.
This is what I was afraid of. And I just mentioned what they got to be careful is don't let him have another one. After he catches this ball, he fakes to the inside and he whirls to the outside, and from then on it's all. Now watch. He fakes to the inside. 28. Walker is gone, and I'll tell you one thing. They couldn't catch him in the Big Ten. They couldn't catch him in the CYO Catholic League. Dynamite football player, a nice young man.
And the big scoreboard says, let's hear it. And the fans certainly are letting him hear it. Bojovic puts it up and through. So it's 24-0. Anthony Carter out of Riviera Beach, Florida, comes over to receive the congratulations of his teammates. Let's take a look at him in isolation.
This isolated shot of Carter demonstrates one thing about Anthony Carter that you cannot coach. That's tremendous speed and quickness. Now watch. He'll go down and catch. Now this is the most important thing. Once he catches it, watch how fast he goes from that spot to this spot. Whoop! See? You can't coach that, folks. And those are good football players. That number 41, Aaron Mitchell, was a starter for the Dallas Cowboys in 1980. He was on the all-rookie team in 1979. He's a good football player.
That was the 9th touchdown of the year for Anthony Carter. Listen to these fans. They're giving Michigan a standing ovation. Look at this. We don't have an official figure here today, but I'll tell you, there is a lot of excitement generated in the Silverdome for this team. It has captured the hearts of these followers of spring and summer football.
And if they do win, didn't the president do a new the president do a new thing about the tickets? What about that?
Knocked the price way down from $14 to $8.50 for the playoff game next Sunday. So almost cutting the prices in half, and they well could have 50,000, 60,000 people out here. And the ball goes out of the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. Let's check in with Steve Garagiola. Steve, you must be thrilled being here at local Channel 7 and hearing all of these fans.
Bill, it's awful noisy. I think I hear you talking to me. Anthony Carter is with me. Anthony, I don't think any of us have seen a move like that. Just tell me about it.
Well, I tell you, it was a quick hook up the middle, and I faked inside and then went back outside, and it was all open, and it was all foot race from there.
You knew you were gone after that one step.
Hey, I saw number 23, I think it was, behind me, but I know he wasn't going to catch me at all because I wanted this one real bad.
Thank you, Anthony. The feeling's pretty loose down here, understandably. Bill, back to you.
Okay, and Anthony Carter gets a big cheer as he comes away from the interview from all of the fans down there who are very aware of it because they have a big screen here in the end zone showing the computerized picture of our television. Michigan has now moved to almost 300 yards. Another good look at Anthony and his followers in the background.
He averages 19.1 for every time he catches the ball. And again, I'll make one point about Anthony Carter and Holloway. The secret to a good passing attack is yards per reception that the receivers catch. Neither one of those gentlemen, Bill, are in the top 12 when it comes to number of catches in the United States Football League. But those itty-bitty ones don't count. It's those touchdowns that do.
And they're going to let the clock run out here at the end of the first half. And these fans are really whooping it up for their Michigan Panthers, who are leading by the score of 24-0 over the Arizona Wranglers. We'll be back for our halftime. First of all, we're going to have a kick by Bojovic and Wally Henry at the 10. Look out. And they force him out of bounds. Clarence Chapman, number 22, was giving ground, but he knew that he had to keep him contained. 32-yard return.
Wally Henry is from UCLA. He's only 5'8", 180. He's done this with the Philadelphia Eagles for years. He makes a little crease there and takes off. Now, you'll notice 22, Shields, and Chapman, excuse me. Chapman is the safety man there and makes it good. And the
That's
kicker,
Boyovich. He wants to do everything. Next, we'll see him quarterbacking.
that will be the day.
So the Wranglers will have it. 1st and 10. They're trailing 24-0 here at halftime. Manucci has his man out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Number 89 on the play is Neil Balholm, a former BYU star.
It's interesting that the first play that Arizona did was what they call a half rollout. In other words, don't set the bait back there. Let them roll out. Maybe you can hit the guy in a rollout come out. That's to stop the pass rush of the Michigan team.
Gain of 5 on the play. Boy, Manucci's taken some pretty good punishment in the first half. He's been down a couple of times, but a big, strong kid out of Kansas State comes bouncing right back. Big rush. Throws the screen. Has Blue. And he's snagged from behind. Boy, Bentley is right there to pull him down.
The screen play is set up to pressure. Let the guy's quarterback comes back, sets the pressure. They let Corker in, as you'll know, 61. Lets him in, and all of a sudden they throw a screen out, but the timing is not any good. You see, number 79 is not out there fast enough. 73 Falcon is not out there fast enough, and 63 Keywell doesn't get the block, and it's all over. Nice play by Bentley, who was the most valuable defensive player in the Mid-American.
Out of Central Michigan. 44-yard line. Manucci over the center, has his man, first down at midfield. And number 52, John Corker, 57 I should say. 52 was Borland.
Now Corker will drop back. He's playing zone defense. He's going to come back into the outside, and then he looks. What you do in this situation, you always look to the inside. Now watch him look to the inside. The ball is thrown, and uh-oh, watch out. He's got his beat on that guy. Ooh.
Well, it's a first down for the Wranglers at midfield. 12:50 to go in this third quarter. Michigan leading 24-0. A little more protection, but this one is almost picked off. Kyle Borland got his hand on it, and it looked like Chapman might have gone right to the end zone if he'd been able to hang on to the ball.
In fact, if Borland hadn't touched the ball, Chapman might still be running, because Chapman got a great jump on the ball. Borland, who's 6'3", just tipped the ball, and that's that tip drill I was talking about. It happens so many times in a game where the ball is tipped by one defender and another one gets it.
So it brings up a second down. 2nd and 10 for the Wranglers, who are trailing by 24 points here in the third quarter. Manucci. A little low, and it'll go as an incompleted pass, bringing up 3rd down. Jackie Flowers couldn't quite get down to it, and Chapman was covering on the play.
Jackie Flowers will try to run deep and all of a sudden break it out. Now, if you'll notice one thing, number 22 Chapman is too close to him. They've got to throw the ball deeper to get 22 away from him. They haven't thrown a long pass, I think, in this whole ball game. And until they do that, number 22 Chapman and 21 Davis will just sit there and knock those passes down.
Well, I think that's revealed in the statistics. Manucci's completed 12 for 115 yards. So what's that? An average of about 10 yards a pass.
Even if you just throw one, we call it to scare them to death.
Big rush. Corker's there. Number 57. And it's pretty hard to escape his grasp. Ronnie Padgett, number 99, combining with Corker for the sack.
Also watch number 31, the strong safety blitz has caused this one. 31 is Greenwood. He's a defensive back. He forces number 20 to block him, Blue, and that leaves one-on-one 73. And see, that guy, the strong safety, 31, coming in there, forced one-on-one with Corker, and it's all over.
Here is Mike Mees, blasting one down to Anthony Carter. Look out. Oh, he wanted to get to that outside lane, didn't he? He keeps looking over there. Uh-oh. Somebody said something, and we're going to get a penalty marker here. Harold Blue got a little over anxious. Carter said something to him, and I don't know which way the penalty was going to.
I would say it'll be on Carter. Blue must have said something to Carter. Carter out and gave him a left jab like Larry Holmes. I mean, a small Larry Holmes. It'll be on Carter, I'm sure.
Personal foul against Michigan, against Carter. So that'll take him back from there.
Number 20, Harold Blue, must have said something to Carter, like I finally tackled you or something, because it was a good play on Harold Blue's part from East Carolina. But at this point, he gets up, and Carter gets him a left jab. Now, when you're 5'11" and 167 pounds, that ain't much of a left jab, but that's not too bad.
Well, it looked like an open hand, not probably one of the smarter moves.
Oh, the rule is in a fight, never take your helmet off.
So that penalty will move Michigan back to the 11.
From Vanderbilt, as you said before, the all-SEC quarterback, second to Herschel Walker as the most valuable player. A nice move by the Michigan coach for the simple reason with 24-0, percentages are they should win this game, but they better get Whit Taylor some experience in case next week he's got to win the ball game for him.
So over 30,000 turned out here today to watch the Panthers in their final regular season game. Johnny Williams on the sweep. Well, he just shrugged off Ronnie Harris.
The impressive thing about Johnny Williams here at this angle, you'll see him get the ball, but watch where he's carrying the ball. This is well-coached football team. When you run to the left, you carry the ball in your left hand so you can use the right arm as a weapon. Now watch his right arm come up here and stick this guy. Boom! Now that's good fundamental football. And I criticized Herschel Walker 3 or 4 times for running that way with the ball in his right hand, and you can't hit anybody when you do that. That was a great shot.
Whit Taylor from the 5 pours it over to the sideline. Out of bounds is Mike Cobb. About the 22-yard line. So, with that penalty tacked on after the play was over, it meant long yardage to begin this sequence. And Michigan has got about 10 of those back with a 3rd down coming up.
You know, Anthony Carter is so valuable. People might wonder why that guy Cobb was so wide open. Well, when Carter went to the middle, 2 men went with him, and they left Carter wide open.
Taylor almost fell down going backwards. Got Carter. First down at the 38-yard line, and they're going to nail the Wranglers for either grabbing the face mask or spearing. 16 yards on the play. Taylor having a little trouble keeping his feet as he back-wheeled.
That penalty will be spearing, and they put that rule in, Bill, because the helmet was being used by players as a weapon, and that's a dangerous thing. Now, the quarterback almost stumbles on the artificial turf right there. He's not used to playing out. He played at grass at Vanderbilt sometimes. He throws the shot to Carter, but now watch, after Carter catches the ball, watch number 22 right there. Tony Neely hit him with his helmet right there. Boom. On the replay, it didn't look as bad as it did in the game.
So it makes it the first down on the 47-yard line. Carter has 113 yards in catches today and 1 touchdown. Four completions. One was 63 yards for the TD at the end of the first half. Big hole for Lacey. Oh, he gets 5 awfully quick. Aaron Mitchell coming up to make the stop on him, number 41. He'll be the guy on the bottom. Well, Lacey had a good start on today's game. Careful, George. It's amazing what will inspire some people to greatness. Second down, 5. Taylor looking, lobs one. Oh, it is caught. Great play. Ken Lacey took that ball. Number 658, John Kimmel, was covering on the play, threw his arm up, and managed to tick the ball, but it was caught by Lacey on the rebound. 32 yards and a first down at the 12.
It is not fair. What kind of justice can you call this? John Kimmel has got tremendous coverage on Ken Lacey. Watch, number 58, Kimball, is running with him perfect. Puts his hands up, deflects the ball, hits it again, and Lacey catches it.
Ball is on the 12-yard line. Boy, Lacey is just powering his way inside the 5.
You know, I would like to say one thing in the defense of the Arizona football team, Bill. The three top tacklers are not here today and all hurt. They're a banged-up football team, and Michigan's doing exactly what they should do, just test them physically and run right at them.
9 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the third quarter. The Panthers have a commanding 24-0 lead. And you can't blame them for thinking in terms of next week, especially if they pump this one in.
Ray Penny's playing tight end.
John Williams behind good blocking, but they seep in behind to pull him down. Larry McCoy, number 56.
Michigan does an interesting thing. Then they move number 74, Ray Penny, from Washington, who's 6'4", 256, from tackle to tight end in short yardage. In the last 3 years, 2 in the NFL and 1 here, he's caught a touchdown pass each year. Number 74, if you notice when he breaks the huddle, he comes out as an end on the line of scrimmage. Now he is eligible. All right, it might be a bootleg. Number 37 play. Watch a man go in motion and try a little bootleg. Well, that's what I told you.
I wonder if the ball was lost up the middle. To me, like it might have been a broken play. That was Randy Justice who came in, and the Arizona players are signaling they have the ball. I believe they do. Tony Neely, number 22.
It looks like Lacey is hit by a lineman coming down the line of scrimmage in a slant. Yes, sir. There it is in the top of your picture. Number 99, Joseph. That was a nice play, but you notice what he did? He slanted. In other words, he came hard to the inside to stop that trap play. Then everybody goes for the ball, and 22, Tony Neely, the rookie from Arizona, comes up with it.
So they are tending to Lacey, Ken Lacey, the fullback from Tulsa. And that would be a very tough loss if the Panthers should lose him by injury, looking ahead to next week. 8:29 to go in the third. We'll be back. Somewhat impressive, but they had to give up the ball at the 5-yard line, and the Wranglers will take over, breathing a sigh of relief. Believe me, there's plenty of time in this ball game for Arizona to come back. 8:29 to go here in the third quarter, and Harold Blue blasts it out for about 4 or 5 yards. Let's check in with Steve Garagiola for a moment.
Well, last week in Chicago was 130 degrees on the field. Not that situation at all here today, but it is hot down here. The problem with Ken Lacey, he is not hurt, but he is dehydrated. He's overheating. And very simply, he's a hot young football player, and he's going to sit down and take a little rest. He's not injured, though.
But he limped off the field, Steve.
Well, the report is that the trainers tell me he is just hot and exhausted, that his legs are not bothering him as far as an injury.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Manucci throws it too hard and a little bit behind the intended receiver, Wally Henry. And so it'll bring up the third down. And this is a big one for Arizona. One thing they do not want to do is to keep that defense out there too much longer. It is hot. The air conditioning is off in the Silver Dome. We can tell here it's really very, very warm and very humid.
This situation they got to guard against here is if they throw the ball across the middle, there might be a deflection and an interception, and they got another touchdown. Then they don't have a chance to win the game.
You know, last week, Lee, that the Michigan team used 600 pounds of ice and 200 gallons of water in Chicago at that game. Manucci from nearly the end zone He's got his man. It's Mark Keel, the tight end, out to about the 30-yard line. A little bit over, maybe.
Keel caught.
Canavino brought him down.
Keel caught 8 passes last week against New Jersey, and he's an outstanding tight end. Now, what they try to do in this situation, you'll notice number 62 and number 50, the linebackers, they brought number 20 underneath and number 83, Keel, behind him. It's called a high-low principle. You bring one man low to track the linebackers and throw it behind his head. Boy, that was a nice play. There's a perfect picture of it, too.
Well, naturally, with Andy Sedaris here. Nice hole opens up in the middle for Harold Blue, and he drags Borland to about the 40-yard line.
Oh, this is a great level shot from the level. They run a blitz. Watch. You'll see all the linemen and everybody charging in from Michigan, and they run right past them. Oh, that was a great play. And they knock Corker down. He knocks his own man down, and there's number 52, Borland, make the tackle. The one thing about this drive I like so far about Arizona, they've got some enthusiasm about themselves. They're moving out of the huddle. They look good.
And it's Corker who is having his left ankle attended to. So he may have gotten a bruise or an injury on that play. I'll tell you one thing. He's so tough, it won't make a difference to him. If it's broken, he'll walk off. Back in a moment. Replaces a former Oklahoma State player. Mike Edwards goes in for John Corker. 53 for 57 defensively for Michigan. 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's 2nd and 1 for the Wranglers, trailing by 24. Oh, they stripped the ball away, and it's a loose ball at the 42-yard line, and it's covered by Michigan. Ronnie Padgett wrenched that ball away from the ball carrier, Harold Blue, and it was covered, I believe, by Carl Borland.
From this angle, you'll watch number 99 Padgett, what they call slant, which means he'll come when 75 Khalil pulls. There's a little hole in there, and Padgett will show up to the right-hand side of your picture, right there. There it is. And that's because the right guard, Cahill, pulled, and Padgett just followed him right down and stripped the ball loose.
And give credit to former Michigan star Andy Canavino for coming up with the ball. 3 turnovers for Arizona, 3 for Michigan. And now the Panthers have the ball in the 42 with Whit Taylor running the offense. And John Williams goes outside. Bangs heads at the 30 and out of bounds he goes. Ronnie Harris throws him out of bounds. Let's go down to Steve Garagiola.
Well, Bill, once again, the Panthers come out of this all right. Ken Lacey up, walking around. And again, the report is he's fine, except he's just exhausted. John Corker limped off the field, a classic injury. His calf just cramped up. They're stretching it out. He may not go back in just to rest it, but no serious injuries for any of them. Back to you.
Okay. Good news for the upcoming week. As we get closer to the end of this game, of course, it looks like Michigan has got the Central Division Championship sewed up. Cleo Miller down to about the 23-yard line.
They've got, excuse me, Bill, they've got 2 new offensive linemen in there. Number 75, Tony Osmond from Michigan, and Greg Fairchild from Tulsa, yet they still come off the ball real well. They're doing a smart thing here. They got Penny and McGriff out of the ball game. Rested them, putting the other guys in, let them have some playing time.
That's a look at John Corker's heavily taped ankles.
Look at that panther on his leg.
Now he's trying to get that calf cramp out. That's what he's pounding it for. Taylor over the middle. Oh, there was a courageous catch. Jerome Stelly from Western Illinois held on to that football after taking a vicious shot from behind.
This is what they call a quick slant. In other words, there was a blitz on. It was an automatic 5 yards and come to the inside. Good. Now, he does one thing real good here. Now, watch him. As soon as he gets hit, he's trying to put 2 hands on the football, which is very important. Now, most of the time in this situation, they like to run the fullback off the left tackle and just let him find a hole.
There goes Williams, and he takes a real good smack by number 77, who came in, Mike Morgan, from underneath. Gain of 2 on the play. Second down and 8. The ball on the 10. 3:56 to go in the third quarter, and the Panthers are out in front 24-0. Despite the score, which would seem to be a bit lopsided, it's been an exciting game.
Because Arizona has not given up. They're playing very hard. They stopped them the last time they got them down here. That shows a lot of character.
Now they swing Williams to the left, but there's nothing doing there. 3 or 4 Wranglers are there to corral him, and these makes a third down situation. The ball on the 10.
Boy, this is a nice play here by Justice, 99. Watch him get outside position. He forces Williams to cut back to his friends in the pursuit. That play, number 99, by Justice, was as good a play as we've seen today from the Arizona team. He's from Missouri, 6'5", 262. You gotta like him because he could have quit.
2 minutes, 57 seconds to go in the third quarter. Michigan now with a 3rd and 8 on the 10 of Arizona. Whit Taylor fires it into the end zone, incomplete. His man down there cut the wrong way. He anticipated that he would cut toward the goal post. He cut away from it, and that's why it fell harmlessly to the ground. That was Frank McLean out of North Texas State, number 82.
This might have been an automatic to let the quarterback let the guy where he wants to go, and he faked the quarterback out. See what I'm talking about? And when you call a choice, the rule is this: make one fake and run, because the quarterback doesn't know what's going on. Plus, number 65, Nelson, was all over Taylor.
So here is Novo Bojovic, who is 5 out of 6 from this range, and he boots one from 27 yards out. No sweat. And Bojovic has his second field goal of the day, and Michigan ups the lead now to 27-0 over Arizona, getting even closer to the championship.
Your father gave it to you for your 5th birthday. Now it's your turn to pass it on. Any spray paint could make it red again, but Rust-Oleum, with an average of 50% more protective ingredients than its nearest competitor, can do more. Its protective formula not only prevents rust, but gives metal better protection against chipping and peeling. So if what you're painting isn't ordinary, why should your paint be? Rust-Oleum. Any metal worth painting is worth protecting.
This Bud's for everyone who answers the call when someone needs help. Just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says
Garfunkel together again.
Wally Henry and Harold Blue are deployed deep. There they are. Wally Henry, number 80 on the near side. Bojovic smacks it. Henry at the 5. Puts the brakes on and comes right. Good move, and Henry scampers out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So you can tell he's been around. So we have 2 Wranglers now will have the ball. 1st and 10 on their own 34-yard line. And it's Dan Minucci, who has gone all the way at quarterback despite taking some very hard knocks back there. Oh, he unloads a big one downfield, and Chapman bounces it away, but there's a marker as Wally Henry is trying to get the ball, and Chapman gets up rather slowly. Well, let's see what the call is going to be here.
This will be interesting because it might come into that new rule about pass interference. Okay, offensive pass interference. That means the offensive receiver interfered with the defensive man and didn't allow him a chance to intercept it. Now you watch yourself. Okay, Chapman was going to catch it, and Henry interfered with him. That's a 10-yard penalty and a loss of down.
Well, the field judge, James Anderson, didn't make any attempt to be on the fence on it. He just raced right back to the referee to tell him. So he obviously saw it happen. And Corker, again, coming over, having a little trouble with spasms in the left calf. Nothing serious, unless it happens to you.
That's right.
It hurts. 2:24 to go in the third. 27-0, and the Wranglers are behind. That ball, incidentally thrown by Minucci, was 55 yards in the air. This one a little shorter to blue, and it's completed. Andy Canavino, number 62, making the stop. There's a good look at Minucci.
You know, Minucci, when he was at Kansas State, led the Big 8 in passing his senior year. He also played 2 years, or was with Buffalo in the NFL for 2 years. He actually played in 2 games. So, you know, he's a young guy. He's got a future. He's throwing the ball well, and one thing about him, you can never test him. He's courageous. I'll guarantee you, just to be back.
Another good quarterback, too, and Alan Risher, former LSU star, been banged up a little bit. And that'll be a delay of the game. Too much time. Now I believe we have a report from the sideline. Steve?
Thank you, Bill. We're here with John Corker. John, first of all, what's the status of your injury?
Oh, just cramping up. I guess Chicago's finally catching up with me. It's pretty hot out here today.
Speaking of Chicago, looks like they're winning, which means Oakland comes here next week. Any feelings about that?
Well, this was not over yet. Got another quarter here to go, but we're looking forward to a great effort at the fourth quarter here, and we'll come work on Oakland when we get there.
Always the diplomat, not counting out Arizona yet. Okay, that's it. Back to you, Bill.
And just in time to see a penalty marker fly on that play as Mark Keel, the intended receiver, came out. Chicago now has moved ahead of Oakland 17-0 in the third. That was illegal motion in the backfield. And Washington is leading Philadelphia 21-14. Well, how about that? The Atlantic Division champions with a great record of 15-2. And the lowly Washington team that just won its third game last week out in front of the Stars.
It could be a whole new year if they get a chance to beat them.
Penalty was declined by Michigan, giving a fourth down situation to Arizona. So Mike Neese checks into the lineup. Well, he has been one big bright spot for the Wranglers today. He's been averaging very close to 50 yards on his boots. Anthony Carter is back. Oh, he just loves to get that football on these punts. He likes the running room. Not going to get a chance here. That one squiggles off the right side of Mike Nee's foot and will be short. Just barely over midfield. Tom Moriarty putting on the pressure after a low snap from center. So Michigan will have the football, and it'll be in Arizona territory when we return. How many loyal followers these Panthers have? 31,900 on an absolutely ideal day in Michigan. And, of course, a 1:30 start time, so you've got a lot of competition for the attention of the sports fan. But I'll tell you, the ones that are here have been very, very vocal and very supportive. And I don't know what it could be next week. It might be 50,000 in that playoff game against the Oakland Invaders, because all Michigan would have to do, of course, would be to beat the Invaders to go into the finals the following week, which, of course, you will see here on ABC, as well as the playoff game. As I mentioned earlier, the ticket prices have been slashed for the playoffs if Michigan wins here today. So that would mean that might swell the attendance here at the Silverdome appreciably.
According to our chart, one of those backs is going to run an inside play.
You hit it right on the 42-yard line, and it's Steele Miller.
To explain what we're talking about, the quarterbacks carry on their left arm. Here's a trap play. You'll see the right guard, number 63, Thornbrook, pull and trap for Cleo Miller as he hits the middle of the line. The quarterbacks take onto the field on their left arm a numbering system. The coach flashes in the number, they read the number and call the play.
Oh, Whittaker throws it to the side, and he was being harried, so he had to unload it quickly to McDonald Holden. Number 84.
He had a problem that time with the snap. Matt Braswell, 6'3", 255, number 54, is in at quarterback. I mean, at center now with Taylor, and he had a slight problem with the exchange.
So we only have 7 seconds to go in this third quarter, and the Michigan team will have a 4th and 5. So it'll be an opportunity to put them pretty deep. Coming into the lineup is Bob Grupp. Spells his name G-R-O-U-P, but he pronounces it Grupp, and that's Wally Henry back. 4th and 5.
And if he doesn't do enough, John Corker is the center on the punt team.
That's the end, or is it? They may have taken too much time. The delay of the game, as the clock still says 7 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
Now that delay of the game was done on purpose because they wanted 5 more yards to try to drop the ball inside the 10.
You know, the Panthers were the USFL leader in signing their draft choices. They signed 5 of their first 7 picks and 11 altogether from the open draft, plus 12 of the 26 territorial selections. One of their selections was David Greenwood, who normally is the punter, but has been playing really full-time in that secondary. Gives Grupp a chance. Ooh, look out. Almost got it blocked. High kick coming off and out of bounds. So they'll spot it, I would guess, somewhere inside the 20. And that is the end of the 3rd period. And the fans whoop it up here in the Silverdome. You're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports, the end of the 3rd quarter. Michigan 27, Arizona nothing. And we'll return for the 4th quarter after this message and a word from our local stations.
Stay on Action News at 6.
Bill Fleming, Lee Corso, and Steve Garagiola from the Silverdome in Pontiac. And it's 27-0. The Panthers out in front of the Wranglers, who are game. They're back in there with a first down on their own 15-yard line. And Minucci fires it out complete. Almost a first down at the 28-yard line. And it's Wally Henry on the receiving end. Good play. He's only 5'8", you know.
But I tell you what, that experience he had with the Eagles helped on this one because he drives a defensive man close. But watch this. He jumps up and takes the ball away from the guy.
Borland.
Right job, Wally Henry. UCLA.
And it was enough for the first down. Right on the 28-yard line. Right on the nose. 14:25 to go in this one from the Silverdome. Right over the middle, and he's got his man, Billy Rickman. Somersaults to about the 38-yard line. Andy Canavino making the stop on him. 3rd quarter stats. Interesting.
Okay, the key statistic in this one right here is the number of yards rushing. Arizona has only 22 yards rushing. When you do that, you force the team into a passing game, and by forcing them into a passing game, you get a lot of sacks and you force turnovers. That's why Michigan has beaten Arizona. They've been able to run the ball more effectively.
2nd down and 1. Well, that's a hard one to get, too. Heavy hitting in the center of the line. And Ricky Young, another Oklahoma Stater, number 51, made the stop.
The games I've covered Michigan, I've been most impressed with all phases of their team with the up front people. Hughes, Tipton, Padgett, Bassett, Banaszak, Albright, and Dokes are 6 of the best defensive linemen in this league. And they play very well together. That's why they can control that passing game and running game so well.
13 minutes to go. The Wranglers have a first down. Minucci spirals it. He's got a beautiful pattern going, and it's going to be interference. Oliver Davis got a step and a half behind Keith McGee, number 84. And that's going to be interference against the Panthers.
I'll tell you why. His left hand pushed the offensive receiver in the back. If you watch as they're running, just watch his left hand, which would be right in his back in a second. You see the left hand go up there? The right hand does a great job, but that left hand did a nice little sneaky job. Sometimes you teach the guy to grab the shirt and pull it. That's a nice one. I never taught it, but some people do.
Oh, Mr. Pure.
Now, the rule is this. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down because it was not an intentional pass interference call.
It's a judgmental call, right?
Yes, exactly.
Defensive pass interference number 22, first down.
If it had been what they consider a penalty he did on purpose, the ball would have been down there on the 15-yard line. This penalty, this rule here, I bet you will be back in all levels of football within 2 years.
I believe it. The coaches think it's very...
Oh, it's a sensational rule.
First down on the 45-yard line of Michigan. The Wranglers trailing by 27. And Minucci pours it over the center, and he's got it very close to another first down to Mark Keel. You know, Michigan has not shut out anybody this year. The fewest amount of points has been 7. That was twice. So the Panthers are kind of hoping that they can keep that goose egg up there.
Sure.
Well, the other big score today, of course, is Chicago 24-0 over Oakland, and this is what it means. It means that next Saturday here on ABC, Chicago will play the Stars, and on Sunday at 1:30, Oakland against Michigan in the game that will originate here in the Silverdome. That's if these games continue the way they are. Harold Blue's been a workhorse out of East Carolina today, a rookie.
You notice one thing, number 36, Darrell Clark, and number 33, Calvin Murray, the two, what they call high running back, profile running backs, have not even played hardly in the game.
That was Dave Oddie getting up out of UCLA, the center.
There's an interesting note about him. He participates in rodeo, which makes him the first legitimate Wrangler.
Good point. Incomplete. Let's go down to Steve Garagiola.
Thank you, Bill. Last week, quarterback Bobby Hebert separated shoulder against Chicago. You got cracked ribs, a sore left wrist. You got to be glad just to sit down and take a rest.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad, you know, we came out and jumped on him quick to where I could sit out the second half, you know, so I can get ready for next week. But it's just more aggravating injury now than anything. It's just a first-degree separation to where I don't think it's any worse when I got hit in the first half. It's just, you know, just more aggravating. I just think it'll take time to heal. But, you know, when you got 2 games left, you know, that we aiming for the playoffs, you know, there's no time for injury.
It looks like next week it's going to be Oakland. Any special feelings there?
Well, I'm sure glad we're playing home. I'd rather play at home than going to Philadelphia. So I'm just excited about that.
Okay, thank you, Barry. Back to you, Bill.
All right, Minucci just misses on a pass to Mark Keel cutting across. That brings up a 4th down for the Wranglers. Mike Edwards covering on the play.
Well, they've got to go for it because obviously they're trying to win the ball game. They will not kick a field goal. They'll try to probably throw some kind of a tight end hook pass. The most effective play they've had is having that tight end Keel hook in the middle or outside and trying to get the ball to him. That gentleman right there, number 83.
Fourth down for Arizona. 11.5 minutes to go in the ball game. They're down by 27 points. A long, loud pass down the sidelines. It's caught out of bounds. Incomplete. He holds the ball up. That's McGee, but unfortunately he was way out of bounds, losing his shoe in the process. So the Michigan Panthers hold them. And that means that Michigan will take over the football on the Michigan 32 when we come back. He's trying to protect that and also think ahead to Oakland next Sunday. What they want to do. Whit Taylor is the quarterback. Former star at Vanderbilt, sitting in now for Bobby Hebert. Taylor goes over the middle too hard to Lacey. And a good look at John Corker, who's lost about 10 or 12 pounds in this heat here today. I say heat because the air conditioning system apparently malfunctioned and made it a fairly warm and uncomfortable afternoon. Nothing like it was in Chicago, of course, a week ago.
Coaches in this situation have 2 options. One, they can show some plays that they want the other team to work on, or they can just go back to the basics.
Ooh, pretty strong hit on Cleo Miller. Number 65 was Bob Nelson, who's been very much in evidence this afternoon as the nose tackle from Miami of Florida. Now watch the signals. There's the throat and the grasp in the lower extremities,
which is
that would be, I believe, a 48. So what is a 48?
James XZ's choice.
Meaning?
Meaning the wideouts are going to run anywhere they want to and get open. So he throws it to the tight end.
Tight end, Mike Cobb. Pretty close to the first down. In fact, I'm going to say it is the first down until they spot it. Let's go down now to Steve Garagiola.
There's no question quarterbacks face a lot of pressure on the football field. This helps relieve some of the pressure. Quarterback Bobby Aber had this on the whole game. Every play the Panthers run is right here. He gets his signal from the sidelines. He just looks at it, calls the number, makes it easy on the quarterback if you can make that job any easier. Bill?
Okay. Anything in this space age to improve things?
I want to say one thing so that they don't think Michigan's crazy. They do change the numbers every week.
All right. 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. And it's Cleo Miller finding a little seam in that defense, and he gets 8 or 9 yards. John Kimmel, number 58. Number 59 is James Looney. Now, you see Whit Taylor looking over there. There's Mark Miller out of Bowling Green with a baseball cap. Now, they have a numbering system. So he flips it off, and he gives that little signal there, and that indicates, and then you see Taylor looking at it.
And now another thing, you notice he's got the hat on. The reason why he has the baseball hat on is so that the quarterback can find him. Nah, it can't be that play. Screen, 768, nah.
Well, it's not going to be anything with that missed handoff, and Whit Taylor falls on the ball. Whit's wife is a nurse and is taking nurses training and has just a couple of hours for graduation at Chattanooga. And Whit himself has 1 hour. Can you believe that? 1 hour to graduate from Vanderbilt. So he's going to go back to school as soon as the season's over.
Now that signal looked like he went, pointed his finger, said like, our plays aren't working. You're on your own.
Now it's 22.
It could be an underneath cut, which means somebody will be going deep and another guy will be sneaking underneath.
Well, the Wranglers smelled it. Out of bounds. Jerome Stelly. Hollis Hall making the stop.
That had to be an automatic on a line of scrimmage because no coach is smart enough to call that play against that perfect blitz because that was the only play that would have worked against that defense. That had to be Whit Taylor, and we mentioned before he does have the option, Bill, to change the play on the line of scrimmage if he sees a certain blitzing situation.
Once again, Boston leading New Jersey 21-3. Washington is leading Philadelphia 21-14, and Chicago over Oakland 24-0. This game is 27-0. With Michigan out in front, and last night Birmingham defeated Tampa Bay to eliminate the Bandits. So we are gradually narrowing things down here at the end of the season. Seems strange to be talking football and covering a game on the 3rd of July. But as you can see, almost 32,000 people have turned out here this afternoon to watch the Panthers wrap up the Central Division Championship. And they most certainly have, with 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go and a 27-0 lead. Handoff goes to Cleo Miller. Boy, he is hog-tied right there. James Looney, number 59, tries to help him up. Former Boilermaker.
But watch Reggie Fowler, number 90, come in. He disrupts the play because he forces Walker, number 90. See, he forced Walker deeper. That's why that play didn't work. And in all the pursuit. Yeah. They still haven't given up because when you get a situation like that, you can count the number of defensive men around the ball carrier, and they had 5 at that time.
You know, Michigan has another Miller, Terry Miller. Remember him? Played at Oklahoma State under Jim Stanley. Well, he has a broken, or I guess it's a fractured thumb, and he's not dressed today. Taylor down the sidelines. It is too long. Intended for Jerome Stelly. There's a marker down at the 43-yard line, however. It's going to be holding against Michigan. Rather emphatic sign by Tom Miller, referee.
That was another automatic situation against the blitz. It looks like Michigan's theory is either throw a quick out cut or a long pass against the blitz because that's twice in a row they've done it.
Well, wait a second. It's not against Michigan. It's a personal foul against Arizona.
Number 90.
Well, we called that a little prematurely. Number 90, the guilty party there, but I'll tell you, Fowler's played a great game. Reggie Fowler out of Wyoming. Been very aggressive. Penalties have hurt Arizona. There's no question about that. If you've been with us since the beginning of the ball game, you know that in the first 2 minutes of the game, when they intercepted a pass and had it called back because of a penalty, Michigan subsequently scored. Cleo Miller driving it down to about the 18-yard line.
And it continually amazes me the way that Thornbrook, number 63, and number 61, McGriff, can pull and trap. They must have been doing that for years, and they look very, very good at it. Trapping is a very, very good thing against a defense that has hard-charging linemen, because you invite them in and then trap them.
That's the amount of time remaining.
All right, play 37 means he's going to boot right with the Z get open.
Right after our telecast today, the National Sports Festival will be coming your way. This will be the concluding day as they draw to a close at Colorado Springs. Now the Olympics are much closer. Of course, we turn our attention to that event. So we hope you'll capture the Olympic spirit as ABC concludes its 2 weeks coverage of the festival with boxing and track and field coming up live following our telecast. 5.5 minutes to go. Big hole for John Williams. Look out, he may go. He goes right. That's the amount of time remaining.
All right, play 37 means he's going to boot right with the Z get open.
Right after our telecast today, the National Sports Festival will be coming your way. This will be the concluding day as they draw to a close at Colorado Springs. Now the Olympics are much closer. Of course, we turn our attention to that event. So we hope you'll capture the Olympic spirit as ABC concludes its 2 weeks coverage of the festival with boxing and track and field coming up live following our telecast. 5.5 minutes to go. Big hole for John Williams. Look out, he may go. He goes right into the corner and scores a touchdown for Michigan. John Williams, the rookie out of Wisconsin, blasted in from 15 yards out.
We get a shot to watch this both time. Now watch the guards. 63 pulls, and anytime you blitz, there's an opportunity for you to go all the way. And Williams just outruns Kimmel, number 58, for the touchdown. The key to this play is the fact that Williams will get on the guard's hip. You watch the right guard, number 63, right there. That's Thornbrook. He makes a break. Kimball can't catch him. It's a touchdown for the Wisconsin graduate.
You know, you made a very good point about John Williams' contribution to this Panther team earlier, and I think it's well taken. He's gotten 67 yards today.
He scored. They've been 9-2 since he's the starter, and he scored, I think, 13 touchdowns.
And that makes it. That's not good, by the way. The kick was not good. That makes it 33-0. And Novo Bojovic is heartbroken. See, I can't believe I missed it. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, this hasn't happened to Novo Bojovic this year, but watch his kick for the extra point.
What happens is he probably let up and did not follow through. Therefore, he pushed it to the right a little bit.
And it smacks the right upright, dead center. And look at the reaction. I can't believe I would do that. But
Novo, better this week than next week.
Well, he just bangs that kickoff into the end zone. No return on it. So Arizona takes over on the 20. 5 minutes and 16 seconds to go. And they have just announced now to this crowd that the tickets for the playoff are going on sale right after this game. So I guess with 33 points up, they feel it is very safe to say that Michigan will be back here a week from today against the Oakland Invaders. With a screen, no place to go. Nobody to catch the ball. Good scoring drive with a lot of balance on the last one.
And Williams had just enough speed to go the last 15 yards on a breakaway run. He took the place in that one series I was talking about against Chicago when I was here of Cleo Miller. No rap on Miller, but he's much quicker than Miller, and therefore he added another dimension to this attack.
Well, Say Yes to the Michigan Panthers is just a play on the Say Yes to Michigan theme the Chamber of Commerce of the state of Michigan has had in effect for tourism for this past year. Not only tourism, but industrialism and so forth. But the fans certainly turned out strong to say yes to their Panthers today. Nearly 32,000 on hand.
Flowers is trying to stay with inside. The ball is rushed by the quarterback because he's just going to get hit by Banaszak. I would like to say something about the offensive line. They have 4 legitimate rookies playing for the Arizona Wranglers on offense, and the defensive line of the Michigan Panthers, like Banaszak, played 8 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when Banaszak's gone, Strode will still be there.
Manucci throws it short. Wally Henry just couldn't get to it. So we have 4 minutes and 59 seconds to go, and it's a 4th down. And the Wranglers will have to kick it away. This telecast is presented by the authority of the United States Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the United States Football League is prohibited. Mike Mees, former BYU star, is back to kick. Except for one punt which he shanked today, he's been very, very good. Drives Lonnell Fee all the way back to the 25. When he gives ground, bows back, and he winds up on the 25. Overdome, 33-0, Michigan over Arizona. Chicago is leading Oakland. Boston is leading New Jersey, and Washington, surprisingly, is leading the Atlantic Division champions, the Philadelphia Stars. Here comes John Williams racing out again, and he's out of bounds at the 42-yard line. A gain of 15 yards on the play. I'll tell you, he's been unstoppable.
Okay, I want to make sure everybody understands that the coach of Michigan is not trying to run it up and beat Coach Doug Shively real bad. They're good friends. The problem is he only has Williams, Lacey, and Miller. He's trying to run the ball, and they're just making it great, because a lot of times people will get the impression that a coach is trying to beat another guy real bad. These two gentlemen are close friends, but he has nobody else to run the ball.
And Williams takes it to the opposite side, but this time he's collared. Sam Norris, number 55, got a hand behind him and pulled him down. Boy, you know, Sam is just exhausted.
He's 6'3", 212 pounds from East Carolina. He's only a rookie, but he's playing with a full heart today.
Oh, it's been so hot and so draining.
I used to hate the coach against teams when they used to come and play on the road, because they couldn't bring all their players. And if they ever got ahead, they only put good ones in.
Second down and 10. The ball on the 42. Michigan out in front, 33-0. In case you just joined us, they've dominated the game. We've had some spectacular plays. We've had a fullback throwing to a wide receiver for a touchdown. We've had a big explosive play from Anthony Carter. Nice sprint by John Williams, the rookie. So they've really mixed it up.
You notice the plays he's running now are just what you call tight inside running plays. He doesn't want to embarrass the Arizona team any more than is necessary.
This was the second largest crowd of the year. 32.8 was the biggest crowd for Michigan. 31.9 today. They played about 200,000 here in 9 days. And Cleo Miller is close to a first down at the 48-yard line. Interestingly enough, Michigan has a very balanced attack with passing and running, and they've had a very balanced audience. They've drawn 200,000 people here, and they played before 200,000 on the road.
It's an interesting statistic that 2.5 million people, an average of over 25,000 people, have seen the United States Football League games this year live. Not bad, huh? Over 2.5 million have seen us live.
Pretty good start. Just barely a first down. Well, you know, psychologically, for this particular area, the Detroit metropolitan area, of which Pontiac is part of, this comes at a very good time. You know, the automotive thing is coming out of the recession. People are back to work. It's kind of an upbeat thing. The Tigers are looking good. The Panthers are now in the playoffs. There have been some lean years, sports-wise. The Red Wings have been down. The Lions haven't been up there. As you know, the Tigers haven't either. And I think the Panthers have given them a little shot in the arm, and it's nice to see. It's a good optimistic note.
Especially since they're new.
And Williams is collared back on the 49-yard line. Tony Neely making the stop. Good play.
Neely is the strong safety. They finally added another man to try to stop this play. It's the basic play. He's got the ball in the right hand, except Neely right now makes penetration. The reason why Neely's up there is that you and I and Neely and everybody else and his aunts know they're not going to throw the ball, so why mess around in the secondary, right? Get up there and get some action.
And we've reached the 2-minute mark here, as Jim Stanley is being merciful here, just keeping the ball on the ground, letting the time run out, and we'll be back in just a moment for the final. Particularly thank Bill Creel and Jay Hill, who have helped us out most of the season in the booth. Bill Creel in his 28th year, I believe, with me on spotting, and Jay Hill contributing to us on the statistical end this year, and we appreciate all of their help. 33-0, Michigan out in front. We have 2 minutes to go. Leo Miller is stopped. I think we ought to project just a little bit, Lee, now that we safely could say that Michigan's in the playoffs. You've seen Oakland, you've seen Michigan. How would you?
No question. Michigan is the best football team right now that I have seen in the league. I think they got the best balance. The quarterback is as good as anybody. They got 2 wideouts. I would think that Michigan and Oakland would be a good ball game, but the running team will win. The good ball game is going to be Philadelphia against Chicago. That ought to be a banger. Both good running teams.
Yeah.
So I would think Michigan against the winner of the Philadelphia-Chicago game.
What would you think? Michigan and Philadelphia final? Or would you call it Chicago?
No, I'll go Michigan-Philadelphia because they're playing in Philadelphia.
And, of course, the championship game will be played at Mile High Stadium in Denver. They had an interesting story. George Puskas in the Detroit Free Press today. Somebody had written in saying, what are they going to call it? What are they going to call the championship game? And he suggested they call it the Duper game, so that if the 2 leagues, the National Football League and the USFL, ever combined, they could have a super duper game.
I wish I'd have thought about that. That's good.
4th and 5. And Arizona will take over the football here, and they'll have about 35 seconds to get something up on the scoreboard. And as I mentioned, Michigan has not shut out anybody. The lowest points is 6. And the 6 points were against streamers and paper cups and what have you to show their appreciation of the Michigan Panthers. We only have 36 seconds to go. And the Wranglers will have the football, and they're down 33-0. There's Bobby Hebert on the left, Jim Stanley talking with John Williams and congratulating him. That's Alfred Taubman there on the left, the owner of the team with the dark glasses on, very much involved. Despite of his many business activities, manages to squeeze a few hours a week, I should say, away to come down and enjoy this team that he has brought to Michigan. Very proud of the team. He goes in the dressing room, and I think we're going to be going in there also today. Steve Garagiola has broken from his position on the sideline, and I think we'll have an opportunity maybe to hear some of the reactions of some of the players who have made it to the finals or made it to the final playoffs of the United States Football League. Nothing there. You know, through the year, we've had a lot of highlights, a lot of interesting and funny things happen, but Lee Corso has in his little notebook the famous nickname of the year, and I think you should pass it along to us.
There's a guy named Loia that plays for Washington. He's the center. He weighs 345 pounds, so his nickname, you know, you'll never guess. They nicknamed him Quarter to Four. That's the greatest nickname that I've ever heard in football. Quarter to Four, Loia.
Oh, that's one for the books. Minucci throws, and it is tipped, but he can't hold on to it. That is Keith McGee. So we're down to 20 seconds now, and there's a Michigan Panther who's lying on the artificial turf back at the 30-yard line.
Well, the one thing I can say about Arizona, and you can't hardly say much except one thing. They've got approximately 30 rookies on this football team. And with a young team like that, they're just going to have to take time and build it from the bottom up. There's no question about it.
Well, there's a lot of happiness on that sideline. Everybody, you know, when this season started, golly, Michigan lost 4 of its 5 games, and crowds thinned out a little bit after the beginning, and everybody was down on them. But give them credit. Jim Stanley just kept pumping away, and he said, listen, we're going to make it sooner or later. Guys like Carter and Holloway, and he had a lot of faith in Bobby Hebert. And Alfred Taubman, you know, never got any heat on him.
He come a long way from Lynch, Kentucky to the Coastal Division champion.
There is Harold Blue. Give him an award for a gutsy performer today. He's taken a lot of punishment. And he's still running hard right at the last 13 seconds.
It looks like to me, just from looking at it, Arizona has got to get some bigger, stronger linemen up front, because physically, as a rushing attack showed, it was like 290 yards rushing for Washington and 27. Michigan, excuse me, and for 27 for the Arizona ball club. And that means that the line of scrimmage is being controlled, and the team that controls the line of scrimmage 99% of the time wins a game. There's Carter and Corker.
He's going to get writer's cramp. Better get him away from there. Got to protect those hands for next week. Manucci unloads a real long one. It's caught. Fantastic pass. It must have gone 60 yards in the air. It's a touchdown. Wally Henry on a sprint down the sideline, and Manucci unloaded a 52-yarder to it.
And they avoided a shutout. Can you believe that?
Great.
Oh, that's great. Never give up attitude. Boy, he's in the shotgun. Manucci steps back and throws this thing as far as he can, and Henry makes the catch. You talk about a class act. Never gave up, and they scored, and at least they weren't the only team that gets shut out.
Well, Wally Henry won a Rose Bowl for Dick Vermeil and UCLA, and I believe it was against Ohio State.
And they're going to go for 2. They've got 6 of 9 attempts for 2-point plays.
So with 5 seconds to go, Manucci unloaded the big one, and it was Wally Henry on the dead run who caught it for the TD.
You might wonder why they're going for 2. The score is 33-6, and the coach has probably got 1 in the team pool. So he's trying to get 33-8.
Well, they'll have to run this one over again.
Now they're going to go for 1.
Phil Denfield is the kicker on the team, but somebody moved. Apparently the center moved. So Phil Denfield will try the point.
The kicking coach must have 0 in the team pool.
That's Manucci who's holding. Denfield puts it squarely through, and we have a 33-7 ball game. 5 seconds to go.
Henry will just go into the outside and then just start running. I mean, there's no faking anybody. When it's only 5 seconds to go to the game, there's no hook and go stuff. You just run down the field. And number 26, Albert Gray from Weber State, a rookie, got beat. He was just activated for this game because they lost that real good Osborne defensive back. All right, kid. See that?
There's Manucci right next to him, number 12.
I tell you what, that to me is why I love being a football coach. That moment right there, you get beat, but you never give up.
Well, Arizona will kick the ball off, and the Panthers will have 5 seconds. Phil Denfield tees it up. I believe we will have a chance to check in with the locker room, even though it's going to be a short visit, especially if they can get this ball kicked off here.
This is interesting, Bill. Michigan has their onside receiving team in there, and I bet you they haven't done this all year. This is good practice for the Michigan team in case Oakland does it to them next week.
Oh.
See, that's real good. They get a chance to study that in the film, and that's really a plus right now. That touchdown was worth it to see these people line up like this and get this return. There's 8 men within 5 yards from the 45 to the 50. Right there. That's their onside receiving team, and they're going to get to practice this for the first time this year.
And it's caught. Michigan has the ball on the 41 despite a flag. They were offside on the kick. But the time runs out. Michigan will decline the penalty, and Jim Stanley walks off the field with a 12-6 total record for the season. The Central Division champions, the Michigan Panthers, and there will not be a happier man in the entire state than Jim Stanley tonight. Yeah, there's Doug Shively. He gives him a hug, the opposing coach. Nice moment.
Yeah, now Shively worked 6 years with Atlanta as a linebacker coach, and Jim Stanley joined him. They're good friends. And I tell you what, nobody in the world could have coached the Arizona team today and beat Jim Stanley's Michigan team. They were that much better than Arizona.
Well, Jim Stanley will work his way through the crowd to the dressing room to be joined by the heroes of today's game, Bobby Hebert, Anthony Carter, Johnny Williams, certainly Derek Holloway, and all those defensive and offensive linemen. Give credit to them.
Well, you know, I mentioned this before, but it's an interesting story. On April the 17th, they were 1-4, and John Williams came in. I remember the spot, and they really helped them.
And there are things going on in the locker room. There's Big John Corker. I don't know whether Steve Garagiola can hear us or not, but Steve, over to you if you do.
Bill, I can hear you. AC, turn around. I got Anthony Carter. Anthony, the team was 1-4. Was there ever a dream that this moment was impossible?
Well, I tell you, with the best guys that we had on the team, I never thought we was going to give up because I came from a winning program, and I know things was going to get better because things started out a little slow for myself because I wasn't down in Daytona, but right now, it's a great moment.
You've been to the Rose Bowl. We're talking a pro championship now.
Hey, that's better than nothing. That's better than nothing, Steve. I tell you, man.
I can't argue with the big fella either. We're having fun down here, Bill.
Well, Steve, just turn it in on your expense account.
Carter had 4 catches for 113 yards.
And they're big mob down there trying to get into the dressing room. John Corker, don't whoop it up too much, fellas. You got one big game to play, and then another one if you win that one. So there's 2 games, if you figure it that way, left in the season.
Yeah, but I tell you what, they're not going to think about that Oakland game until tomorrow. But I tell you who is. Jim Stanley and his staff will be in the meeting room tonight by 8 o'clock.
Really?
Yes, sir. They'll have all the Oakland films almost already broken down because they can't afford this celebration. They got to get ready.
There's John Corker.
Hey, baby, it's unreal. 1-4, no more. The cat's on the 1. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to face old John even now.
Let me tell you, Muhammad Ali never had better run than 1-4, no more.
Now they're going to try to take the goalpost down, and I hope they don't get them because they've got to play a game here a week from today. But it gives you an idea of the kind of enthusiasm that's been pent up here in this state of Michigan, hoping for a champion. And I believe they're going to get the doggone goalpost off and down.
You figure that over 2.5 million people have seen this league in the first year in person, and look at that crowd. I don't care if it's July or November. What the hell's the difference? I mean, the goalpost still comes down the right same way, doesn't it?
Well, it's been fun covering the action, and let me remind you, next Sunday, it'll be Michigan and Oakland. You'll see it here on ABC at 1:30. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Drew Narlow. Today's coverage of the Arizona Wranglers. The Michigan Panthers game was produced by Ned Simon, directed by Andy Sedaris. Technical director, Gina Fronti. Associate director, Jack Graham. This is Bill Fleming along with Lee Corso and Steve Garagiola saying so long from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Stay tuned next for the National Sports Festival. Remember to be with us again next Saturday and Sunday for more exciting USFL playoff action. Saturday, it'll be Philadelphia and Chicago. Sunday, it'll be Michigan and Oakland. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge by Budweiser White. The best never comes easy. That's why there's nothing else like it. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more top business centers with 3-class Royal Pacific service. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.